votes on a poll question yesterday. Said 55% said, yeah, let's do it, which I was surprised by.
Yeah.
Usually in hindsight, people would be like, nah, I didn't like it. Well, they were 50-50 on it. Some people like the fact that Doug Marrone went for the win and went for two. Then you ask, what about the play? And without question, 100% of them say hated the play. And, of course, you hate the play because it doesn't work, so it's obviously the wrong play. But I kind of hated the play anyway, whether it would have worked. You love it a lot more if it did, and the Jaguars get it done, but they didn't. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and the Action Sports Jax crew, big thanks to them for all their efforts here today at the golf club at Southampton and our golf tournament. Beautiful day. But let's talk about these Jaguars, man.
Yeah.
They're 0-2. It's a really bad start. I thought this was a critical stretch to play the Texans. It's a tough thing to do and win on the road in the division in the NFL. But now they come home, and on Thursday night against the Tennessee Titans, already in 2019. And you know, you have your panic button that you get to hit like once a year. And if they were to lose this game, I would hit the panic button like at 11 o'clock on Thursday night. This is like a must-win game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're 3 weeks into the 2019 season. That's not a pretty picture to paint.
So first of all, I think my panic button was hit when Foles went down, so unfortunately my panic button's already retired, and now we're coming in Thursday night against the Tennessee Titans, and yeah, this is, in my opinion, it's a must-win game. It's your division opponent. It's an opponent who's beat you the last 4 games pretty handedly, and you got to show who you are now, you know, as a team, because we can talk about Houston here in a little bit. There was a lot to take away from it, some positive, some negative, but at the end of the day, all that matters is the wins and losses, and guess what? Right now you're an 0-2.
Well, let's get to it right away.
Okay,
your thoughts. Should they have gone for 2?
If I was the coach, I would not have gone for 2, because the way I look at it is like this. I understand that you're on the road, but you had the momentum. You had a rookie quarterback who was leading that team, who felt good, who felt confident, who looked like he belonged out there. You had a defense, for the most part, that was shutting the Houston Texans down. And if I'm Bill O'Brien on that sidelines, I would be nervous to go to overtime. And then that's pending even if Texas wins the coin toss. Let's say the Jaguars win the coin toss. Fantastic. Let's drive down, get a touchdown, game over. So from that perspective, I would not have gone for 2.
I will say this. I said, and there was a tweet I put out there, and these are all in real time. You know, you're watching them and you're live tweeting the game essentially. And when they had the delay, and I knew they were going for 2, and there's a timeout in between, and I was like, oh, Doug. I didn't love it either. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I understand it. And the thing that made it better for me is after the game they said they were convicted about it. They said, you know what, if we score here and there's this amount of time left on the clock, we're going for 2 in the win. Mm-hmm. You know what? Hey, if you want to do that and you're going for it, I can respect that. And we saw another team do it yesterday. The Denver Broncos did it. And they completed a pass and went ahead for at least momentarily in their football game. They were at home in that one, where a situation where overtime usually is better if you're at home. You try to steal one sometimes in sports when you're on the road, although I don't really know if that old cliche and adage pertains to the NFL as much. But I was just being honest. I was like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't even thinking about that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if I loved it, but I didn't hate it. It was okay. That's fine. So then you get to the next part of this. Was the play okay, and was the play better than everybody is saying? Because, shoot, man, we might be able to sit here and argue that he got in. I mean, it was inconclusive, but maybe he might have got in. And if he gets in, by the way, the play is fine. But it was that close. Was the play better than people are giving it credit for, or are we all missing something?
So, first of all, second time ever watching the game of football that I've dropped an F-bomb in front of my son.
Oh!
And
bad parenting.
Bad parenting. And
bad parenting.
And this was due
By
to
the way, his son is 4.
4 years old. Yeah, and I'm sure he's using that at daycare today. I'm about to get a parent-teacher conference for the parents, though. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be for me. It's going to be my conference.
But hang out with me more, Ronan. Sunshine and rainbows over here, buddy. I don't swear at all.
But here's the reason, Brent, okay? So I told you, if I was the coach, I would not have went for 2. So be it. They go for 2. All right, fine. You know, let's roll the dice a little bit. You have the momentum. Let's capitalize on it. So I see him come out, and it's a shotgun formation. I'm like, okay, interesting, because what you think would happen was they're going to try to, you know, just have Fournette go up the middle. Well, when you run that kind of formation, I was thinking it's going to be a pass. And let me ask you this question, Brent. If you're scheming here, what do you like better? Do you like 8 men or 6 men? Who's going to win that battle most of the time? 8 men or 6 men? It's a pretty obvious answer. 8 men, correct. So they had 8 men in the box. The Texans did. Well, 11 guys can be on the field, correct? So what does that mean? They had trips out left, so that means that they had wide receivers on single man. You know, it was man-to-man coverage. I'm like, oh, here we go. Pick, touchdown, easy money for Minshew. I'm like, here we go. Because I could see it right away.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
like,
good call
there's no way that they're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
I'm like, the box is way too stacked. This is not going to happen. And I'm like, all right, man-to-man coverage, straight up on the receivers. Let's see the pick play. And I see him hand the ball off to Fournette. And as soon as that ball is handed off, I'm like, what the, F.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking good. Now, from it was a great effort by Leonard Fournette.
Yeah,
okay?
It was a bad play call, but a great effort. I mean, a great
yeah.
effort. He was stopped at the 3.
Yeah, I mean, he was originally stopped. He kind of had a second effort, almost got in and came down on the wire. I get that. So props to him. Wasn't his fault at all. I mean, you could say, well, maybe did he miss the hole? Those plays happen so fast, Brent, where you just got to go, lower your head and hope you get in.
Yeah.
And he didn't get in. But I was upset that they didn't pass the ball.
Yeah, here's the deal. My contention is this, and I'm trying to think from all angles on it. Think from the coach's point of view. And they even indicated they liked this play before the drive. Not only did they decide that they were going for the 2-point conversion, but they even liked the play they were going to call. Well, then I would say, all right, guys, well, did you watch the drive? The drive that you were the most effective all game long. You hadn't been effective on offense, but this drive and what I saw on this drive, and it wasn't just the 2 plays, not the 4th and 10 run by Minshew, but if you looked at the plays and as they were pushing the ball down the field in the final couple minutes, I thought there was a lot of green grass for Minshew to run. Now, he didn't always run. He threw the ball sometimes, but I thought it was there for him. If he wanted 5, 6 yards, 10 yards, he could have got it, and he did on 4th and 18. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I like the idea. I don't like 2 things. I don't like to run because my offensive line hasn't done anything. In fact, it's been the Achilles heel of the entire game. They've lost me the game. Critical holding penalties, the big sack fumble. They've lost me the football game. Why am I going to rely on them to win me the football game? That doesn't make a lot of sense. This wasn't about Leonard Fournette. Mm-hmm. You put it in the hands of your offensive line, which is probably the weakest part of your offense, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And then so I'm like, all right, well, at least do a read pass option play of some kind, because then at least the defense has to think and react a couple of different ways. The other play I don't like is cut off half the field and roll out, because then you cut off half the field. I don't want it. So I know the room gets a little tighter down there, a lot tighter, especially when you're on the 2-yard line. But if you spread everybody out and you let Gardner Minshew just do his thing, and he had been making good decisions and guys have been making plays, I like my chances a lot more. Again, hindsight's so easy on that, but I think we all agree, and everybody I've talked to and all the social media reaction was just asking for that. Give me a little read pass option of sorts. Now, what you told me is a way – I don't look at football the way you just said that. Mm-hmm. When you said they lined up, I didn't see all that, okay? I didn't see 8 men in the box and single on the wide receiver. Well, even if you have a pick play and you get called for the pick play, then you go kick the extra point, and you're tied.
No harm, no foul.
Even if you see that call, I think Gardner Minshew, and I tweeted this during the game, this guy's really good on timing routes. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a slant play, really good on timing routes. Now, you got to have one of your young receivers win a battle. I get it. But Jonathan Joseph, man, I don't even know if he was in the game at that point. He got picked on. I would have went and picked on him one more time and tried to win the football game. So there's a lot of different ways to go. It's easy to second guess. It didn't feel right. If you're going to lose on an incomplete pass that somebody makes a great play on, or your quarterback who had gotten you there, and we would have been flying banners and holding parades for Gardner Minshew today. Let him try to sneak it in on a running play and him come up short.
Yeah.
Don't put it in the hands of your offensive line that had holding penalty and sack, force, fumble, easy touchdown for Houston. I didn't get that part.
And here's what bugs me, because everyone's saying, oh, it was an RPO play, They took what the defense gave them. If it's really an RPO play, that's the offensive coordinator's job to make the call whether to run or pass. And if you're the offensive coordinator, if you're John DeFilippo, you're going to see that they have stacked the box. They are not playing the pass. The safety is in the box. They're going to stop Fournette. And with that being said, then you call out of the pass. That's what makes Sean McVay, especially last year, so great. You think Jared Goff's making all these calls all the time?
Yeah.
No, Sean McVay is, because he's the quote-unquote offensive coordinator. So from that perspective, I just wish they would have at least put it in Minshew's hands, gave him a chance. But that's not what happened.
Well, there's another part of this story, and maybe a bigger part of the story, and that's Jalen Ramsey and Doug Marrone. Real quick thought, because we're going to elaborate on it. Mm-hmm. But quick thought. Did they handle that situation right? I'm not talking about the arguing. I'm talking about, should Jalen Ramsey have come back in and even played in that football game? And should we see some kind of discipline here on a Monday to Jalen Ramsey for what happened on Sunday? You've been on those sidelines.
Oh, yes.
You're an emotional guy. You're going to fight
Very
with Evan
emotional.
Britton every day in practice.
Montel Owens, I got to fight. That's all I need to know. I got to fight Montel Owens.
Yeah, nice
he's
guy.
the most disciplined dude ever. I guess I was so ticked off he's so disciplined and trying to block me.
Jalen Ramsey, did he go over the line yesterday in that game in Houston?
No, absolutely not. And do you know why? Because a couple years ago, a guy by the name of Tom Brady lost his absolute mind on the sidelines to Josh McDaniels. Tom Brady took off his helmet, was screaming in Josh McDaniels' face over a blown call. I guess Brady wanted to call, McDaniels checked out of it, whatever the reason was. But Tom Brady's on the sidelines chewing Josh McDaniels out, and he had to be restrained by players and coaches. And everybody looked at Tom Brady and said, that guy wants to win. That guy's a winner. You know, he wants to compete and everything. So let's go back to Jalen Ramsey yesterday now. Jalen Ramsey wants Doug Marrone to throw the red flag because he feels that Hopkins dropped the ball. Now, whether Hopkins dropped the ball, if he did or not, I mean, honestly, I saw the replay. I thought it was a horse apiece. Could have won either way. But that's not the point. You have your best player on your football team saying, Coach, we got to challenge this play. We got to challenge it. And what did Doug Marrone do? Said, no, we're all good. First down. What ended up happening? Instead of being fourth down possibly, it was a first down. The Texans go down the field, kick a field goal, and that's points on the board right now. So from that perspective, did it get handled right? Probably not. But I look at Jalen Ramsey wanting to win. I look at Jalen Ramsey trying to be taken seriously. It's like I've been saying all day. If Puz would have, and I get Puz was a captain. Jalen Ramsey's not a captain. Doesn't matter. If Puz would have been like, hey, let's throw this challenge flag right now, I guarantee Marrone would have been like, oh, yeah, let's throw the challenge flag. And I'm not saying this isn't trying to be a race thing, Brent, by any means. But I'm saying, this is a
respect level.
It's a respect level. And you want to talk about a guy with respect. Well, he held Hopkins to 5 catches, 40 yards yesterday? That's the best play in your defense, hands down.
It is. I mean, he was unbelievable, and it takes away from a great game from him. I mean, he was outstanding, although he should have intercepted the ball later in the game, too.
Yes.
I disagree with you on this one.
No, I know.
I disagree. That's an interesting thought. You surprised me a little bit with that thought. We're going to talk more about it. We welcome your thoughts, too. What do you think about the Jalen Ramsey situation? What do you think about going for 2 in the play that ensued? And how much trouble are the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2 weeks in to the 2019 season? We're live at the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 Golf Tournament. It's in the books, our 10th year. A golf club at Southampton, a fantastic venue, great hospitality. We're talking more Jags right after this, and we welcome your calls, star 690 to get in.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and breezy today with a few brief showers that'll give way to lots of sun this afternoon. We jumped to near 90 degrees. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website VitaDeLouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to VitaDeLouis.com.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville September 27th with 22 total events and over $1.3 million in guarantees. The $5,000 buy-in Best Bet Bounty Scramble will host 30 of the most acclaimed celebrities from around the world. Knock out any of the celebrity bounties and get $2,500 on the spot. Take part in all the glory and fame at this year's WPT Series. For more information, visit them on the web at bestbetjax.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904. Powered by Cox Media Group.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick & Wingo. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest-growing sports station in Jacksonville. Clearly, it's because I'm on every morning from 6 till 10 a.m. But this isn't about me. It's about your business. Get your business noticed today. First Coast is making the switch to ESPN 690, and there's no better time to get on our team than right now. Call ESPN 690 today, 245-8732. That's 245-8732. Grow your business today on the new ESPN 690.
That's the crossroads.
So then you would have Jerry Jones basically saying we're not paying market value for what this guy would be worth.
He just came out and said you can win a Super Bowl without winning a rushing title.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
It's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing. This is Action Sports Jax. Bang!
Hey, welcome back to the Action Sports Jax Stream 18, 2019 edition in the books. Thanks to everyone who supported it, and we had another great day out here. We're going to talk more about it, but we had a lot of Jag stuff, so we'll get to that right now. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane. Mike Burrish is going to join us in just a couple of minutes. These guys, everybody out here is talking sports today, man. Everybody was talking about the Jags. That's one thing about the Jags. They might be 0-2, but they are entertaining. Thank goodness we have Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. These first couple of games have been, a lot to talk about. We left off with Jalen Ramsey. And I want a quick thought, and then I'm going to get to the phone lines, okay? And you're more than welcome to come on in, star 690. You said, and you kind of surprised me, you did not have a problem with what Jalen Ramsey did.
No.
And there's a lot of levels to this, okay? First of all, I think what Jalen Ramsey did, the problem I have with it, you cannot put your hands on your head coach.
See, but I didn't see the video, Brian. I didn't see the video where he pushed him, supposedly.
Well, it wasn't a push. Okay, we got to be careful with the characterization. It wasn't a shove, push. It was more of a nudge, and I might have said even on Twitter, shove, first of all. Okay. But it was more of a nudge, but it was something. It wasn't like I'm walking by you and I bumped into you. It was an effort made. And there was a lot of verbal going on there, too. And I can do with the verbal. I can get away with it. That's fine. These are grown men. It's hot. It's heated. It's emotional. You're mad. That's fine. And I also will say I thought Doug Marrone was in the wrong for going over to the bench. Yeah. Listen, this is a day and age where you have so many cameras. Don't make this thing worse. You have to be aware of that. And that's a tough thing in an emotional time to be aware of that. Your player just shoved you, nudged you, however you want to phrase it, and now you're ticked off because you're getting a mouthful from a player, which is basically insubordination. I mean, bottom line, it's insubordination. That's what it is. I mean, there's a head coach and there's a player. That's the way it usually works. So I can see why he's fired up, but just sit him down for a couple of series then. Mm-hmm. Don't go over there and make it more of an issue. So I thought Doug Marrone was wrong in that regard. And now we see today if anything will happen to him. Does he get fined? Is there a suspension? Is there anything like that? The Jaguars, Doug Marrone was supposed to talk at 2:10. He didn't. He's talking around 4:30. So we'll have an update from there. And I also don't like the way the Jaguars handled this last night. Jalen Ramsey, if you are going to call out the media and call out fans, well, not fans really, but call out everybody that critiques you, yet in a moment where you lost your cool and it was not a cool moment for you, talk to the damn media then after the game and own up to it. We saw Miles Jack do it. Jalen Ramsey skates out of there, doesn't want to talk. Not a good move by Jalen Ramsey. I gave these guys a lot of credit a week ago for their maturity.
You did?
I thought there was a step up in maturity, the way they handled it. Not this one. Not this one. You can't lose your cool like that, shove a coach, nudge a coach, drop an interception that might have won you the football game, and then not own up to it and at least talk about it in some way, shape, or form. And by the way, Doug Marrone's not off the hook on this, in my opinion, either. What do you mean it's emotional? I kind of forgot what happened. He knows exactly what happened. That's what he said in the postgame. He didn't want to address it either.
You almost got in a fight. You're going to remember what happened. All right.
So I don't like the way they handled it, okay? I didn't like it from the start. I think he should have sat a couple of series at the very least, and they should have handled the whole situation a lot better with Jalen Ramsey. Let's get to Sakib on the phone lines right now on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hey, Sakib, sorry to keep you waiting, man, but a lot to get to here on a Monday. What are your feelings?
You know, it's a mad Monday, right? My Florida State lost, okay? The Jags finally was doing something good. And then Doug Marrone, who's not a good head coach, I will go in my grave saying that guys, I am one of the biggest Jaguar fans that you guys will ever meet and listen to in your life. Okay, I will do anything for my Jags guys, but Doug Marrone should be fired in this year. I don't want him here. He has lost this locker room, and I hope and pray to God that he gets fired. We need a guy like Tom Coughlin that's better disciplined, because that guy Ramsey wouldn't have done that to Tom Coughlin. I guarantee you.
I don't know,
Have you guys ever heard somebody doing that in New England? I'm sorry.
Listen, Sakib, I disagree with you on this front. I'm not sure. The Tom Coughlin we all know, the Tom Coughlin you grew up with, that guy that had that aura about him and this no nonsense approach. I don't know. It's not a Jalen Ramsey
Have
thing.
you guys ever heard that happening in New England?
Well,
have you ever
that's
heard
a great call.
somebody nudging the head coach, coach of New England Patriots, and talking bad to him?
But we saw Tom Brady get in Josh McDaniels' face and almost come to blows.
That's not the head coach. He's just the offensive coordinator. Come on, man, Alston Lane. Come on, man.
Well,
Have you ever seen anything like that? He's lost
it's
the
still
locker
not.
room.
It's the same situation, Sakib, but it's a little different in terms of it's not Belichick. I understand your point there. And how would they have handled it would have been fascinating, because if you have a player of that caliber, how do you handle it? And some people, I asked that today, and they're like, well, he would trade him away. He would cut him. I don't know about that. But he probably would discipline.
Let me ask you a question as a former player you are, okay? Sure. Would your former head coach, Jack Del Rio, if you went to him, pushed him, or nudged him, or did anything to him, what he would do to you? He would probably sit you down and say, dude, that's not going to happen, right? Am I right or wrong?
I'd probably get cut or traded. And it's like I said, I mean, I've seen the video a couple times, man, and I didn't see a push and I didn't see a shove. I mean, I saw guys getting held back, but I didn't see Jalen Ramsey, blatantly push Doug Marrone, just to be honest with you.
He's lost the locker room, period. End of discussion, and I want him fired.
All right, Sakib, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. I think we have, is it Johnny on the line, Kuz? Is that what you said? James? Johnny? Okay, thanks, man. Johnny, jump in on the conversation. Your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey.
Well, as a former college football player who played over at Alabama, let me just tell you this. Jalen Ramsey has got a terrible attitude. He's a great player, there's no doubt about it, but he has got a terrible attitude. Let me give you an example. He intercepts a pass, he runs it in for a touchdown, and he stands there and dances, sexually suggestive, as a matter of fact, and dances and dances. You know what we were taught to do? Go to the defensive line and tell them, thank you guys for putting pressure on that quarterback. So he threw a terrible pass and I could intercept it, and then our team could win this game. As far as I'm concerned, Ramsey is a detriment to Jaguars, and he's one of the reasons we have a losing team in Jacksonville.
Johnny, thanks for the call on ESPN 690. Appreciate it. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane back here. And let's bring in Mike Burrish as well. You get right in the hot seat, Burrish. Speaking of hot on the temperatures, jumping in because you guys were talking about this today. We're talking about this as you talked about this today here on the golf course with everybody.
Yeah.
What's the thoughts on Ramsey? What did you get? What did you sense?
It is split. You're right. It's really very split. I loved the game. I mean, I think a lot of people thought they didn't have a chance yesterday. So first and foremost, they went out there, played pretty good football, had a chance to win it at the end. Argue what you want about the call at the end for two. But I thought they played pretty well. I would not be at all surprised to see them pull the one out Thursday night against a team that's been nothing but a nemesis for however many years. I think they're going to play good football Thursday night. I really do. I think it's exciting to see you got a backup quarterback come in who's pretty kind of a freelancer maybe, almost, right? I just think
he had a little
exciting.
magic to
it's
him
all
last
right.
night. Yeah.
He's exciting. He's fun, and he plays smart football for a rookie. I mean, I think it's pretty fun. And the guys are playing with a passion. Otherwise you don't have the argument on the sidelines yesterday. And I kind of agree with you, Brent. I think you bench him for a series or two right away.
Right away.
And it's done.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Yeah.
You could address it briefly
and quietly
afterwards.
Done.
And then you're going to talk about it behind closed doors later.
Yeah.
But it's done.
And you might even fine him later on. I mean,
Maybe.
You might get a fine
Maybe.
later on. And by the way, I don't know where this goes today. And look, Johnny, I think, was a little bit strong on what he wants to say. I mean, I get his idea, but I mean, the celebrations and the touchdowns, all that, I didn't understand what he was talking about. I mean, that's fine. Let guys celebrate. Mm-hmm. What he brings up is a point that we don't know. And we really don't know. And it depends who you ask. And I think it depends sometimes on spin and assumption. is what is this guy like in Jags headquarters? What is he like day to day? And how much can you put up with that? I always go back to the conversation I had with somebody about Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders bounces around to 3 teams. He's the greatest cornerback of all time.
Good point.
Why does he bounce around to 3 teams? Because people get tired of him. That's why he bounces around to 3 teams, because they don't want to deal with his stuff. And guys are like that. Coaches are like that. Sometimes players are like that. I think this guy is such a good player. I mean, such a good player. The greatest player maybe this franchise has ever seen if he stays here for 12 years. I mean, he is that good of a football player. Yeah. He was unbelievable yesterday outside of the drop. But, man, he could have got thrown out of last week's game, and then we're talking about this week with him and the coach. I see it differently than you do, Austin, on I get he wants to win. I get he's competitive, all those things. But you've got to be careful. See, what I also saw about his teammates were protecting him there which is good from your teammates to protect him. But how much are people following Ramsey? Is Ramsey the guy you want to be following? And is Ronnie Harrison following Ramsey? Here's the problem with Ronnie Harrison doing some silly things. He doesn't play like Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. So I don't know that's going on. I'm just wondering, is it like that in their locker room?
And listen, I brought up the point he wants to win, he wants to do this. Yeah, that's part of the argument. But you're missing the biggest point of this whole argument is that he's not being heard. He told Doug Marrone, can you please make this call? Can you please throw the challenge flag? And Doug Marrone didn't do it.
How many times do guys ask that? How many times would be like, show the challenge, and they're like, they're dead wrong.
Brent, name any player, any best player on an NFL team. Like, let's say Aaron Donald for the Rams. If Aaron Donald asked for that challenge flag, is he going to get the challenge flag?
I mean, I want to say yes, I understand your point, but
he
I
absolutely
feel
will get that
I feel like
challenge
they've
flag.
all asked for that stuff before. I feel like Antonio Brown or an Odell Beckham Jr. said, hey, my feet were in. Go review that play, and they don't review the play.
I'm just saying, Brent, I don't think Jalen Ramsey feels respected. I think he feels disrespected, and it finally blew over yesterday. Now, I'm not in the locker room. I'm not at practices. I don't know how his teammates feel about him. All I know is that Jalen Ramsey right now I feel like feels disrespected because he's not feeling heard. And anytime you're the best player on the team, I feel like you have that right to be heard.
Yeah, you have the right to be heard, but doesn't he have to let it go at some point, man? He played the next 5 plays pissed off at the coach, yelling at the coach.
And it was 3 points.
Get over it, dude.
Brent, but you could argue it right here. I mean, a couple plays changed the game. If Doug Marrone throws that challenge flag and all of a sudden it's 4th down, they punt it, Jaguars win the ball game.
Yeah, listen, you're right. I said it, yes. I mean, Doug Marrone cost them because he didn't try to challenge, and if they would have overturned. I'll say one little part of this that I think people miss. In the first half, when there's a play that is questionable, and you do have any player, but your star player, saying that I saw that hit the ground, and they're not sure, and the play gets off in a reasonable time, even though they saw a couple replays, and they can't make a decision quick enough, why in the world don't they call timeouts? You have 3 timeouts in the first half that you never use. You never use 3 timeouts in a half of football in the NFL. You never in the first half. You never do it. So why didn't they give themselves more time to at least take a look and reconsider? Now, Marrone's postgame he was quick to pound the chest of, we're the best in the league at challenge plays.
Yeah.
You know, he was quick to say that. That was a little shot at Jalen. Hey, we got a system that's been working. It's the best in the league, by the way. And Jacksonville is one of the few things that are the best in the league the last couple of years. So, pretty wild.
And to get back to your point, too, it's like how much will the Jaguars tolerate with Jalen Ramsey? I mean, is he kind of being a nuisance in the locker room now? You have to ask that question. Well, if he truly is being a nuisance, if he truly is being a bad role model, a bad leader, then that kind of falls on coaching to get that leadership in line. That falls on coaching and the captains to get that leadership in line and to basically right the ship. Because I'll tell you what, regardless of what Jalen Ramsey's doing in the locker room, he held Hopkins to 5 catches for 40 yards, and I'm not a betting man, but I'd probably say no one else is going to do that in the NFL this year.
Hey, fair enough to ask the question. Somebody just asked it, so I'm going to ask. What had more of an impact on the football game, dropping the pick 6 or not challenging the play?
Pick 6.
Probably dropping the pick 6.
It's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair question.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the one thing, Jalen, if you're going to blow up like that, and you are awesome, and you were great yesterday, but you got to make that one play, too.
You got to walk the talk.
Absolutely.
You got to make that one play. Hey, Mike, great weather day today.
Beautiful.
We appreciate you being
wonderful
out here.
Tournament.
And thanks for clearing that hurricane off the coast. And Thursday night's supposed to be really nice for the game.
Yeah, it'll be a pretty night, really. The temperatures will reach the 80s in the afternoon, but kickoff is 8:20, I believe, right? So 8:20 kickoff, mostly clear skies, a little bit of a breeze, and temperatures no worse than 80 at kickoff, and dropping into the 70s during the game. And, of course, it's after sunset to boot this time of year. So, really a pretty evening. It should be a great night for football. And like I said, I expect them to really come out and play good football. I really do.
I like it, man.
We're snake-bitten by the darn Tennessee Titans. I know that. I realize that. But I thought I was showing something yesterday. I know there's a lot of controversy. I love the call at the end of the game. I love going for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wanted to see it in Minshew hands myself.
Yeah.
But who am I? I mean, I'm not. I loved their spirit. I loved the end of the game. I think a lot of people expected that to not be close yesterday.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm fine with it. And if we can win tomorrow, Thursday night, now we're one game out of quite honestly, a mediocre division, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, it's all not lost. You got to win Thursday,
no,
but
right?
Not
I do
lost.
think we have to win Thursday night. Practical cases, but yeah, I thought it was great. So I'm excited. I think we'll be fine, and the weather looks great Thursday night. Just real quickly, if I may, the tournament, Brent, is the best tournament in Northeast Florida, and the foundation that you are sending money to, the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation is awesome, and the St. Michael's Soldiers. Just what a wonderful. I'm not hungry. That's for sure. There's a lot of food out here. Southampton does a great job with it. Always, of course, is always in great shape. And I know you don't show it. I don't know how you don't, but you have to be exhausted. People need to know that. It's remarkable what you do. And then lastly, go Hawks, as in Iowa.
Yeah, you got away with it.
Iowa got after a 7-hour game.
That was a long game.
It was 2 weather delays. I don't know how anybody plays through that, quite honestly. A win was a win in that case. So, but we've got some fun times in the Hawkeye State right now in the Midwest. So,
Mike, good, big Iowa fan, of course. Hey, man, thanks for coming out here. We
Thank you,
appreciate
you guys. Great radio show.
Thank you, man.
Fastest growing radio show in Northeast Florida and Jacksonville.
You bet.
Let's get it.
Mike Burish, First Alert, Chief Meteorologist, Action News, CBS 47 and Fox 30. He's going to shower up and be in a little bit later tonight on Fox 30 and CBS 47, I believe. So thanks, man, for coming out. Thanks for dialing us up. A good day and keeping that hurricane off in the Atlantic. Absolutely. Yeah, don't get your frame. You got something for your dad. I like that. That was very nice of you. All right, when we come back, more Jags talk, of course. We'll stay back on the Ramsey. Where does this leave the Jags? Really, it's the bigger thing. We can talk about the sideshows and all the different angles, and we will, but I mean, how much do they have to win this football game, and can they? I've got one big concern about this game. I think they will beat the Titans because I love Thursday night football at home.
Yes.
I think it's such an advantage. That's not blind faith. Go look at the record books. The home advantage on a Thursday night is huge. But I do have one major concern after what I saw yesterday, and it had nothing to do with Ramsey, a 2-point call, or anything else. That's coming up next here on Action Sports Jax.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The Ballad of Gardner Minshew wrote another verse yesterday when the magical mustachioed rookie almost pulled off a last-second victory in Houston. The Jags lost their second in a row, but Coach Doug Marrone has a lot of faith in his young QB.
And then, in that last drive, I mean, you can see the poise that the kid has and was able to go down the field and score. He's never, tell you guys before, he's not a guy that gets rattled. He's fine on the sideline. He understands, what we're trying to get accomplished and what we want to do. So I couldn't be happier with him.
And around the NFL, the Steelers will be without their QB1 for the rest of the season. The second-year man, Mason Rudolph, will guide the sleigh, while Big Ben goes on IR for an elbow injury. And Roethlisberger isn't the only big name that's going to miss time. Saints quarterback Drew Brees is out for 6 weeks with a hand injury. It's like fantasy football anarchy out there. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
Going to work or just taking care of your home. Daily activities that should never put you in jeopardy. Roundup Weed Killer has been linked to many cases of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Our farmers, gardeners, florists, and maintenance workers have been exposed to this toxic chemical. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or are receiving chemotherapy as a result of Roundup exposure, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 1-800-565-4000. That's 1-800-565-4000 for a free consultation.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
That's what sleeping with a CPAP sounds like. If you can't use CPAP, imagine pressing a button and it sounding like this. That's sleeping with Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire is a sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with one click of a remote. That's right, just a button. If you have sleep apnea, great sleep awaits at InspireSleep.com. That's InspireSleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you and review important safety information at InspireSleep.com.
Hey, boss, you're not gonna believe this.
What now?
Remember Frankie, the guy we've been showing the ropes to?
Who?
You know, our protege.
Oh, yeah, Frankie. The next generation of crooks making us proud.
Yeah, not so much. Boss, he just got busted.
He what?
Yup. Cops caught him. He was, boss, you might want to sit down for this.
Uh-oh. Sounds serious.
Yeah, they caught him breaking into our warehouse.
Oh, that little weasel. Of all the places to break into, he chose our warehouse? You just can't trust anyone these days.
Yeah, and he knew we had Safe Touch security monitoring the place with the two-way communicator, the video monitor.
Serves him right for breaking rule number 1 in the Crooks R Us handbook.
Stay away from Safe Touch houses. Yeah.
Kids these days.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Game of Thrones, the live concert experience, is coming to Jacksonville at Daly's Place on September 20th, and ESPN 690 has your chance to win tickets to the show. So head on over to the contest page at ESPN690.com to enter for your last chance to win a pair of tickets to the Game of Thrones live concert experience.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Jaguars' biggest problem is they have absolutely zero team discipline. What I saw the last 2 weeks between that Miles Jack and Ramsey yesterday, it just proves that that coach and his entire staff needs to go now.
Well, there you go. Sound off after a Jaguars game, and you can do it on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. We invite you on Jaguars game days to call in to star 690, leave a message, and that's what that is. And you can do that every game, including Thursday night when the Jaguars play the Titans. You know, there is a lot of Marrone talk right now, man. And how much of this is Doug Marrone? We just had this conversation, and I have to preface this and tell you where I'm from on this topic. If you've heard me say it, I apologize for saying it again, but I want you to know where I come from before we start talking about something so I'm not wishy-washy on it. And like last week when discipline was being talked about, I was like, hey, that's Miles Jack. Miles Jack hasn't run into this before. This is a one-off thing. This is not a repeat offender, if you will. And I also believe overall in the NFL and here in Jacksonville in recent years that discipline has been talked about too much, that it's a football game. It's a violent game. You have passionate young men playing a violent game where people are trying to take their heads off, take their jobs, and they're making millions of dollars and trying to get rich playing the game and be a star. I mean, you tell me if you would keep your cool on every play. I don't think so. Okay, you need that passion to play, and I also think you can get away with penalties and get away with some things and still be a good football team. What I don't think you can do is habitually do things like this and be a good football team, because that breaks up football teams. It's too much discussion, it's too much disruption, too much distraction, and we see good teams and you don't see that. Once in a while, absolutely. Did Seattle have some run-ins during those years? Did the Giants, even when they won Super Bowls, have some run-ins when they were successful? Absolutely. It happens. Yeah. No doubt. Were the Jaguars in a perfect situation and hunky-dory locker room every single step of the way in 2017? Here's the answer to that, people. No, they were not. But we didn't care about it as much because they were winning football games. I thought Bill O'Brien coached a terrible game yesterday. You know what? They don't care about it today in Houston because they won the football game. That's how it works in the NFL. But so to just preface this, I am not a go to the discipline card. The discipline card, it's all on the coach. It's his fault. I mean, what do we want around here? Tom Coughlin is in the building. Doug Marrone is supposed to be a hard-ass coach. He's the head coach of the football team. I mean, how much of this is on him and how much of this is players just kind of running amok here and being selfish in doing things outside of what they've been taught and what they were supposed to do. I do have to remind everybody, this is a team game. Don't they call it the ultimate team game? Well, you can't do some of these things if you want to win as a team. And that goes back to some of the events of the last couple of weeks. And CBS showed a graphic that I was even astonished by. And that goes back to the Gus Bradley days. Did you see the graphic with the penalties?
Yeah.
The number of ejections, the number of personal fouls? They're like second in the NFL. You are not good enough, Jacksonville, to overcome that kind of stuff on the field and off the field and during the week, because we have to talk about it now for the next week before you lead into another kickoff on Thursday. But how much of this is on Doug Marrone is really what I'm trying to ask.
Well, and you said you don't want to repeat yourself. I mean, I've been repeating myself for the past couple of weeks now, Brent. The last thing I want to do is come in and break down stuff that happened on the sidelines, right? Because then it's not even football. It's like I'm TMZ. I'm like, oh, did you see Jalen Ramsey, do this to Doug Marrone? And, I get it. We have to cover it because that's the big news in sports. But I can't stand doing it, man. I'd rather just do the X's and O's and say this is what the defense did well, this is what they need to work on. This is what the offense did well, this is what they need to work on. But no, we're sitting here talking about more discipline and more discipline. I don't want us to live in a bubble, though, in Jacksonville where it's just like we have a Jalen Ramsey type, another team has a Jalen Ramsey type. All right? There's 32 leagues in the NFL, 32 teams in the NFL. Do you think other teams maybe have some egos involved? Do you think other teams maybe have some guys that aren't really high character dudes, but they make it work? It's just for whatever reason this year it's starting to come to a head now, Brent. It's starting to snowball out of control. And how much falls on Doug Marrone? How much falls on the players themselves? I mean, it's got to be 50-50, I would say. I would say 50% has to be the culture that you establish in the locker room. It's got to be we do things a certain way. It is the Jaguar way, and either you're in or you're out. And if you're out, then we'll see you later. We'll trade you away, so be it. And you almost have to, strike fear in the fear of God into some players sometimes. But we're seeing now where that's not what coaches do, Brent, because now we're going with more the players' coaches, right? We're going with the young guys. We're going with the Kingsburys. We're going with just pick your young coach now, and they're everywhere. So I don't, it's so hard to sit here and talk about it, Brent, when I'm not in the locker room every single day. I'm just kind of, speaking for what I've seen in the locker room. But I just feel like if you have all these egos and you have these me first guys or whoever you want to talk about, I'm not just singling out Jalen Ramsey, any guy you want to talk about. If you have those types of players, it's on you to make them fit your scheme. And if you can't make them fit your scheme, then you have to get rid of them. Now, a lot of coaches in the NFL, whether they're old school or new school, have seemed to found a way to make players fit the scheme, because I don't see other players on sidelines going after coaches, Brent. I don't see other players on other teams getting ejected for trying to fight somebody after, somebody said something in a Chiefs game. I only see it in Jacksonville right now. So, yeah, I get it. The players have to be accountable, but at the same time, there's egos everywhere. But it's only happening in Jacksonville right now.
Yeah, there are egos everywhere. You're right. And that's why I do, again, yes, is it on Doug Marrone? He's the head coach. Everything goes back to the head coach. I think there's got to be some ownership here from the players too, though. I mean, there has to be. See, here's the deal. When you have a one-off thing, right, you wonder, okay, that was a bad moment. When you start compiling them, and this is what I thought about when I just heard my stance on the discipline. I think it's over-talked about. I think it's not always as big a problem as people want to say. But I do have to come around on this a little bit. When you show me a graphic that has 5 ejections and second in the NFL in the last 3-4 years in 15-yard penalties, which are real killers in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
From a first down, whether you're on defense or offense standpoint, I have to rethink that a little bit. And I have to say, well, who is this then on? Are you being coached to do this? Well, you're not being coached to do that. Nobody is coached to act like they've been acting these last couple of weeks, and really it goes back probably to the last couple of years. But if it's a one-off thing, it's okay. If it's a constant thing, I think the question that needs to be asked is, whoa, what else is happening Monday through Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in a week. There are meetings. You can tell us about this better. There's practice. There's weight room stuff. There's more meetings, film room. And then you go play a game on Sunday. So how much are some of these guys a problem if they're a problem on the field the way they're acting? Maybe during – I don't know that answer. I'm not even trying to suggest they are, but I think it's fair to wonder, are they? And is this a bigger deal than just what we're seeing on TV on a Sunday afternoon?
But listen, we talk about it. Is it a big deal that we see on a Sunday afternoon? Brent, ever since the first preseason game against Baltimore, I came on the show every single preseason game and I said, listen, they have to address these penalties because right now they're not a very disciplined team. What happened next week? Doug Marrone said we'll take care of it. Then it was another 10 penalties a game. And then it was like 11 penalties. And it just keeps snowballing. Now, they had 9 penalties, Sunday, which, okay, I guess that's a plus. That's a win. It's under 10. You had like 9 penalties.
They were huge.
Yeah, but they were giant penalties. And I'll keep saying it. The discipline and the penalties, it goes hand in hand. Show me a very less penalized team, and I'll show you a very disciplined team. And the Jaguars are, neither of that right now. And we saw this in the preseason, and it still hasn't been addressed. Well, it's one thing for the players to take accountability and be like, all right, we can't get so many penalties, But as a head coach of a football team, and you say that you have, all right, we had 12 penalties preseason game number 1, 11 here, 13 the next week. If I keep saying that, I got to look myself in the mirror and be like, listen, whatever we're doing right now with the culture, how we're handling these players, whatever it is, isn't working because these penalty yards, it's not going to fly. But it hasn't been addressed yet, and now it's week 2 of the NFL, and we're still talking about penalties, and we're talking about things on the sidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it does, like I said, it goes back to Doug Marrone. I do think the penalties, and you can speak to this maybe.
Yeah.
You played in the trenches, and I wondered this a little bit yesterday. Sometimes it's how are you being taught the right way? Well, then it's other times like we're just not good enough, so we have to try to do something else. Like, are we good enough to stop these guys so we grabbing, right? Are we holding?
Mm-hmm.
Are we on those plays? That's what made me wonder. Is it just a bad play or are in totality? And I think that's a fair question about the offensive line, right? How good is it?
Yeah.
And are they doing these things in clutch times because they can't stop them man to man?
Well, and I'll say this, Whitney Merciless might be a Pro Bowler this year the way he's been playing the past 2 weeks. I think Will Richardson had some problems yesterday, and you saw him. They had confidence in Richardson to go one-on-one with Merciless. Didn't chip a lot with the tight end this week. They did last week in Kansas City, and that came to bite him back a little bit.
And he, by the way, has been a Jags killer. Even with Clowney there in the past, he has been a big-time player for Houston against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not done with this topic. Let's stay on it. Marrone and Ramsey, where does it go from here? Doug Marrone talks in the next 45 minutes, and I think we'll get a better indication. We're live at the Golf Club at Southampton. The Dream 18 in the books for another year. Jaguars are 0-2, though, and that's what we're talking about. Star 690 if you want to jump in. Is this a Doug Marrone problem? Next on ESPN 690. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. The Greater Jacksonville Area Cadillac Dealers Action Sports Jax Dream 18 is just around the corner. September 16th at the Golf Club at Southampton. Thanks to our presenting sponsors as well, the law offices of Ron Scholes and the Players Championship. Your business can still be a part of the event to raise money for St. Michael's Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is challenging local businesses to donate $1,000. Join the $1,000 charity challenge at actionsportsjaxdream18.com. Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly, get free estimates, and you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know, the longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
What's up, North Florida poker fans? This is Allie McDeal from both Best Bet Card Rooms in Jacksonville and Orange Park. The World Poker Tour returns to Jacksonville September 27th, and there's no better time to lock up your seat in the main event than right now. You will find satellites into the $5,000 buy-in main event for as little as $120. Satellites are going on now. Get ready to take your shot at $1 million prize pool in the WPT main event. For more detailed information, visit them on the web at bestbetjax.com. Best Bet, where anybody can win.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Family, food, and football. Renna's Pizza checks the box on all three. Family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years. Fresh ingredients every day. And your home for football all fall. Watch the games and dine in at Renna's 5 locations. Or let Renna's help with your football get-together. A menu to satisfy the entire family's appetite. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Family, food, and football at Renna's Pizza.
At Action News Jax, we're here for severe. When storms threaten, put your trust in the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Team, led by Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish, rated the most accurate for the last 13 years.
The First Alert Weather Team is the only team of certified meteorologists in the Jacksonville area. That means we have the most schooling and training to forecast and predict severe weather. And that experience will keep you safe from a storm.
Action News Jax First Alert Weather on CBS 47 and Fox 30.
I think it's time to let go.
Top-ranked Clemson at the Syracuse Orange. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Goodyear.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
On the Jaguars, I think if they were to go for 2, I would always go for 2. I thought it was a great game.
Segment here on ESPN 690 on Action Sports Jackson. You can jump in on the conversation anytime, star 690 or 904-362-9901. If you're watching the video, you can see the number right on the screen. Also, anytime after a Jags game, right after the game, later that night, earlier in the morning, you can always jump in on star 690 and leave your thoughts. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, and yeah, we're talking Jags. All right, I had a thought on Doug Marrone, and obviously the big question is all about discipline right now. Everybody wants to go discipline. It is such a buzzword, man. Discipline is such a buzzword. Here's where I think Doug Marrone right now is starting to question the way he did things in the offseason. And maybe even feels a little bit betrayed by this football team. And I want to get your thoughts, Austin, on this and see if I'm taking this a little bit too far.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be overdramatic here, but I'm trying to really think around this thing and what took place yesterday and what's taken place the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Marrone gave this team a lot of rope from a player's standpoint. Think about Doug Marrone before this year. Before he was the head coach of the Jags, and you would say what? Tough guy?
Yes.
Disciplinary guy?
Yeah.
Coughlin, it works above him. Coughlin kind of guy,
yeah.
Right? That's the tree of a Belichick and a Parcells and those kind of guys. Well, I've said this for a couple of weeks at times, but not this loudly probably. Doug Marrone's job is on the line this year. There's no doubt. Some people question whether he should have come back last year. I thought he should have. But some people question whether he should have. Shad Khan gave him another year, this whole regime. But his job is on the line this year. And when your job is on the line, instead of doing things the way you've always done it, you instead kind of, I don't want to call it a 180, but you definitely tweaked it pretty significantly. You changed the way you did things in August in training camp. You changed the way, I would think, in terms of listening to the players and saying, hey, this is your team. I trust you guys. I trust you guys to get your work in, do it the right way, go win football games, be good leaders, all that stuff. He's been all in. Look what he did after last week with Myles Jack. He didn't come out in the media and say, man, Myles, we actually said he should have said that. Instead, in the media, he was like, hey, sometimes you lose your cool. Even yesterday, didn't hammer Jalen Ramsey in the media, even though he probably could have.
Yeah.
He threw a little shot in at him because he said, hey, we're the best in the league at reviewing plays, at challenging plays. But is this all backfiring on him? What you do in that situation, you say, I trust you. This is your team. I'm holding you guys accountable. And what he's seen in the last couple of weeks is a captain get ejected, his best player on the football team almost get ejected last week, or at least had a chance to in the end zone, and then blow up on the sideline to the point where he gets nudged on the way. Isn't he sitting here and saying on the plane ride home last night, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I could have done this the way I always do it or want to do it, and I did it this way, and now we're 0-2, and we got all these issues. You know what I'm saying?
I'm taking a quote away from you that you just said, Brent. This is your team, right? He kind of put the players in charge. Well, when the players had the team photo, all right, when the 2019 Jacksonville Jaguars take their team photo, they're all wearing their jerseys and everything. It's not just the players in that photo now, is it? Doug Marone's in that photo. The assistant coaches are in that photo. Why? Because it's just as much as their team as it is the players' team. You just can't be a head coach and say, you know what, this is your team. You guys, I'm going to put the thing in your hands if they're not ready to do that. And as a head coach, you have to be ready to know if they are ready to take the leadership or not. This is why Pete Carroll's such a great coach. You know, and I've talked to Pete Carroll a couple times. I had a meeting with Pete Carroll when I was trying to, make it on the Seahawks. And that's another story for another day. But Pete Carroll is so great because Pete Carroll's a people person. He's the ultimate master of reading people. And I think Pete Carroll, his philosophy is that when people are ready to lead, he will let them lead. I think the problem with Doug Marrone is the fact that maybe the players in the locker room said, like, man, this sucks. Like, we're not having fun. This is a bad culture. And Doug Marrone bought into that. He's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should lighten up the reins a little bit. No, you can lighten up the reins, but are they ready? Are the reins ready to be lightened up?
Yeah.
And I think
are they ready to take it?
Are they ready to take it? And I think with Doug Marrone and that team right now, you're seeing they're not ready to take it just yet. But again, you just can't blame the players on that, Brent. You have to put that on the coaching too, because at the end of the day, he's making the call.
Oh yeah, it would be the wrong tack that he took.
Yeah,
you're right. So you blame Doug Marrone, but I'm just thinking Doug Marrone must be like, man, I should have just done it my way.
Sure.
I should have just done it the way I always do it.
Because you know what, and we'll see what happens this year if he gets let go or not. But if you get let go, you did it your way.
You want to do it your way. More to come on ESPN 690. We're not done. Welcome your call, star 690.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Right now, the season is over for Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, while Saints QB Drew Brees will likely be sidelined several weeks. Roethlisberger will have season-ending elbow surgery this week. 0-2 Pittsburgh now moves on, with backup Mason Rudolph taking over. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Brees expected to soon undergo thumb surgery and be out about 6 weeks. Saints certainly will miss Brees, but should still win their division with Teddy Bridgewater starting, says Monday Night Football analyst Booger McFarland.
If he can just kind of keep the ship afloat, he doesn't have to win every game, but 2-4, 3-3, if he's going to be out 6 weeks, when Drew Brees comes back, because of the division they play in the NFC South, I think when you put all that together, the Saints, although they're going to lose some games, I think they will be fine in the end, assuming that Drew Brees comes back healthy.
Booger McFarland on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Giants coach Pat Shurmur did not commit to quarterback Eli Manning starting in Tampa Bay on Sunday. Manning's got 2 touchdown passes and 3 turnovers in 2 games this season, and he and the Giants have scored a grand total of 31 points.
Go further than ever with the Discover It Miles card. They automatically match the miles you earn at the end of your first year. So your 35,000 miles could become 70,000. Discover It Miles. Limitations apply. Discover match for new card members only. Learn more at discover.com/travel.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Dell's semi-annual sale is officially on. You now have the rare chance to get the latest Dell and Alienware computers with Intel Core processors at 17% off. A discount usually reserved just for Dell employees. Shop a wide selection of leading-edge Dell and Alienware monitors and more, all with free shipping. Call 800-BUY-DELL or go to Dell.com/semi-annual sale to enjoy huge limited-time employee savings. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
Really thinking that he might go to the Clippers just because we weren't hearing anything about the Clippers, and real G's move in silence, and Kawhi Leonard isn't.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do real G's move in silence?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Minshew throwing the ball was the only thing that got results on the field Sunday. I think Doug Marrone has lost that team. I think he should be fired, bring in somebody else with a new voice.
Well, the open mic is loud against Doug Marrone, which is a little bit interesting in my opinion, given the Ramsey situation yesterday. But they blame Doug Marrone for the Ramsey part. Ramsey kind of feels like he's I don't know if anybody's got full control over Jalen Ramsey. I don't know how much that explosion. But I think it also goes to the point of, should he have called timeout? Look at the play a little bit longer. Throw the challenge flag. Listen to your player. And that's the one thing about it. And I'm a little antsy about listening to the player. You know, you do have a system. You got to be careful with that. Players get a little emotional. The guy's job way up there is to not be emotional. People on the sideline, people on the field are emotional. You're supposed to take that emotion out. Again, I think they missed this one too. I'm just telling you from a procedural standpoint, I wouldn't be listening to players all the time. That's where I disagree with some folks about whether you should throw the flag or not, because there would be probably 5 times in a game that players will want you for either to pass interference or stepping out of bounds or a potential fumble or a catch or no catch to throw that, because it can be an emotional game when they're out there and they feel like they saw something, even though there's 55 cameras in slow-mo telling the guy upstairs what he saw, what he didn't see. Brent Martineau, former Jags player Austin Lane, dissecting another loss for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and there's a lot to get to in this one. We've been talking about the 2-point play. Was it a good idea to go for it? Was it a good play? I think we know the answer to was it a good play. It was no. What would you have called is probably a better way to phrase it. Jalen Ramsey, will he be, should he be disciplined here on a Monday by the Jacksonville Jaguars for the antics and the outburst on the sideline? And how much of this is on Doug Marrone? And, well, by the way, what we do have to get to, and we will in a moment, is how about Gardner Minshew? We have some Minshew magic. And how much do the Jacksonville Jaguars need to win this football game? There's a lot happening, man, here on this Jacksonville Jaguars team right now. The bottom line is they're 0-2. They need to win on Thursday night. But Minshew might be the guy to get it done. Minshew, I think right now has everybody believing the sky is not falling because he's been fun to watch.
Yeah, you know, and listen, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves real quick, Brent. We still have a game to win on Thursday, but you have a game coming up against Denver, who looks like a pretty beatable opponent, even though it's at their house. And then you have a team now, the New Orleans Saints, when we were picking our predictions, like, oh, you know, the Saints are going to be a tough team. They're going to come into Jacksonville, and it might not be pretty. Well, now Drew Brees is going to be out for an extended period of time. Teddy Bridgewater, while, you know, he's no Drew Brees, he did struggle a little bit against Los Angeles. So now you have a very winnable game, I feel like, too, against the Saints. You know, so it's not like the season's over by any means. And now that you sprinkle that on top with a QB in Gardner Minshew, who is intriguing. Now, I'm not saying he played a perfect game. You know, I mean, I felt there's a couple of times where he may have held the ball a little bit too long. You have to get rid of it. But all things considered, your first start on the road, and listen, being a quarterback in the NFL is probably not an easy job, but on the road being a quarterback in the NFL, Brent, is even probably a lot more difficult. And the fact that he showed up, you know, in a pretty tough Houston place to play, and by all my accounts, man, that I watched, I thought he did a hell of a job. I thought, and listen, we're going to say that because of the last series where he drove down to win the game. Now, you know, maybe if he throws an interception to lose the game, we're not singing his praises that highly. But right now, sitting here on a Monday, I thought Gardner Minshew played a hell of a ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it was even before that, and I saw people really, getting on him about the fumbles. And okay, you got to hold on to the football. get it. But they fortunately didn't lose 2 of them. And so take away the one, which was totally the offensive line's fault. That wasn't Minshew's fault. I don't know what he was supposed to do. Merciless put Will Richardson in the spin cycle, and he was there by the time he hit his back foot. So that was probably not preventable, although you'd love to keep the ball off the ground. But I went thinking the whole game, I'm like, man, this is not on Minshew. They are moving the ball. Every time they push the ball down the field, they get a play to DJ Chark, holding call, set you back. They get a 3rd and 1 on the 40-yard line, get the first down with Fournette. You're almost in field goal range. Holding call pushes you back. Now, I didn't think he was doing anything unbelievable. They weren't pushing the ball down the field a lot. In fact, in the last 2 drives, because they had to, I thought they found a lot of success throwing the ball down the field, and kind of wish they did that a little bit more earlier in the game. But I think you got to this isn't a video game. Mm-hmm. I think the thinking of the coaching staff is that's a good defensive front, and we've got a suspect offensive line. Yeah. We got to be careful to let guys be going 25 yards down the field. So I understand their thinking, but when they started opening it up, he started pushing. Jonathan Joseph couldn't guard anybody, and Chark and Conley and those guys started to eat a little bit, as they like to say. Yeah. So I like all of that, and then the composure and the runs and the getting out of bounds and everything that entailed that final drive, man. Yeah. We went from Minshew mania to Minshew magic. It was fun. I mean, listen, I grew up watching Doug Flutie. And Doug Flutie, you got this feeling about him, not just on the play to beat Miami with the Hail Mary, but when he was with the Bills and then New England. And when you watched him play, you were like, something good's about to happen. There's something about to happen. Nobody believes in this guy, but something's going to happen. And you got that sense with Minshew on that drive. They got a huge break on that drive nobody wants to talk about. Leonard Fournette did not get the first down on the first 4th down attempt, but they got a great spot and they couldn't overturn it. Just the opposite of what happened actually on the 2-point conversion.
Correct.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying the great spot. I'm just saying you couldn't overturn.
Yeah, it was too close to overturn.
There wasn't conclusive evidence.
Yep.
But, man, I got this feeling watching that game like they can't score all day. They can't get a touchdown, yet I feel like they're going to score right here.
And it was very telling, too, because if you remember the very first series of this ball game here, I think the worst thing could ever happen to Minshew happened to Minshew. And he got hit clean on a safety blitz. So I think I want to say it was Norwell, if I remember right. Didn't pick up the blitz, didn't scrape off. He was double teaming with the center. When the blitz comes through, if you're Norwell, you got to scrape off and take the blitzer. Unfortunately, Norwell turns his back, and it's too late, and Minshew gets sacked right away. And that's the very first drive of the game, Brent. And I was like, oh, here we go again. And now it's back to Baltimore, right? Like, the guy got a clean shot on Minshew. I'm like, well, there goes Minshew's confidence. Like he just got a clean hit. How's he going to respond after that now the next series? And you saw a guy who wasn't faltered. You saw a guy who wasn't afraid to get hit. And you saw a guy who was willing to lead his team. And listen, we always talk about the accuracy, and maybe he missed some passes here. I remember he had the I think it was to Fournette. He had him like on a wheel route.
Yes.
Overthrew him.
Oh, he missed that play.
2 or 3 yards.
He missed Conley on the first drive.
Yeah, and that was on Minshew.
He wasn't perfect.
No. And I get that point. And maybe accuracy was a little bit of an issue. But if we're talking about accuracy, we have to talk about the tenacity. We have to talk about his ability to stay in the pocket and take that hit on that first series and not be afraid, to not back down, because Brent, not every quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, I can't reiterate this enough, a rookie 6th-round quarterback just does not do that.
Well, I don't know where your expectation level was for Gardner Minshew, but he far exceeded it to me. Again, I thought reality, we both did, right? We both thought reality might set in this game. And from a point production total, it kind of did. I mean, reality did set a little bit more in, but there was still stuff kind of game within a game without the penalties that you felt pretty good about. You felt like, okay, they had some success. Now, this wasn't Kansas City moving up and down the field, but Houston's defense is a lot better than Kansas City's as well, and you couldn't run the football once again. So it's not like you're getting help with the play action and being able to run the football. So, yes, he missed some plays, and that's really where this goes for me is I wonder where this gets to for Minshew. Now, you can have fun with it. We can have Minshew mania. There can be a little bit of Minshew magic. I think they should have put it in his hands on the 2-point conversion to kind of help that along a little bit, because that was the guy who had the momentum. That's the guy who had the good vibe, the good karma. Give it to him. Let him make something happen. That's who I want to have make something happen, the guy that has the hot hand. It's like a basketball shooter at that point. Give it to him, even if he's not maybe your go-to guy all the time. That's the way I felt about it in the 2-point conversion. But you can only have so much of that stuff with L's. You've got to come away with W's. And I'm not saying it's on him. but they have to find ways to win games to kind of keep the momentum of Minshew, the belief, the confidence growing, the growth in general as a football player and an NFL quarterback. They've got to find ways to do that and get W's, and that has to start on Thursday.
Well, and I want to reiterate the point one more time of that, the choice to go for it for that 2-point conversion. And you talked about it, Brent. Say like in NBA or college basketball. Say you have that hot-handed guy, and there's 2 seconds on the clock. You guys are down by 2, and you want to hit that 3-pointer for the win. Well, who do you give it to? You give it to the hot-handed guy, right? Because even if he misses, the basket, at least if you're a fan of that team, you can be like, well, you know what? They gave him the best chance to win. They didn't do it, so be it. He missed his shot. And that's the way I feel about with Minshew, too, where, Minshew was rolling so much where even if they would have put it in his hands and maybe, he overthrows the receiver, he overthrows Chark in the end zone, you know what? I'm not mad at that because at least they gave that kid a chance to win the ball game. But instead, we're sitting here talking about Leonard Fournette getting stopped, on the 1-foot line and not giving it to the guy who had the hot hand. So from that perspective, it's just something to kind of dwell on, too, a little bit where I felt like Minshew could have willed that team to victory. And another thing we had to ask ourselves, too, a little bit, Brent, and I talked about this on Thursday and Friday, where I didn't want to see the Jacksonville Jaguars in a track meet because I figured with Houston's offense, they showed up against New Orleans. I didn't want to go tit for tat, back and forth. But now you kind of have to ask the question, the way that offenses are rolling at the end, because they weren't running the ball towards the end. They're just passing the ball. It really begs the question, can you put up 30 points a game with Gardner Minshew? Can you put up 30 points a game with this John DeFilippo offense?
Yeah, I'm impressed in some of it, but you got to be able to run the ball sooner or later, and especially with this offensive line. You can't let guys tee off. I love what they're doing with Fournette in the passing game.
Oh, I know.
When he's getting outside, I don't think this is a Fournette thing. Yeah, he danced a little bit, but I think it was James Lofton on the call with Andrew Catalon, my buddy, and Lofton did bring up a good point in this game. When you see him dancing and his toes tapping, it's because he's got nowhere to go. Yeah. That offensive line is getting pushed back. Yeah. I mean, they got blown off the ball. I could not believe, and I think I teased this a little bit earlier, and I'll tell it right now. The thing that scares me about Thursday night is how much Houston pushed the Jags defense off the ball in the run game.
Yeah.
That's scary. You know why? Because that's what Tennessee does. Mm-hmm. They want to do that. They want to beat you up physically. And I was a little bit surprised by that. No, not Yannick Ngakoue, but that shouldn't impact the running game.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell's not healthy, you can tell.
Yeah.
He isn't playing good football the first couple of weeks. Marcel Darius isn't healthy, and they did not look good against the run.
So it sounds like someone was listening to my reaction videos from the game yesterday because I said the exact same thing. I said if you're going in this Thursday night game right now and you're losing the trenches like you did to Houston, you're not going to beat Tennessee because that's Tennessee's MO. I mean, yeah. I don't care about, Corey Davis maybe coming on or Mariota's getting better in the pass game. No, they're going to come into Jacksonville and they're going to try to run the ball down your throat.
I am not done with this football game. There's so much more, including the Houston side of things. Was I a little right? They might be overrated?
You're a little right, yeah.
I mean, that's one game. That's one game.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a pat on the back. I'm just saying.
No, for sure.
Are they a little overrated? I mean, Minshew outplayed Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Outplayed Deshaun Watson. That's fact.
Yeah.
Go look at it. Deshaun Watson hardly did anything.
Yeah.
More to come on ESPN 690, including balling and falling. Quarterbacks are falling all over the NFL.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny and breezy today with a few brief showers that'll give way to lots of sun this afternoon. We jumped to near 90 degrees. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
On January 27, 2012, WOKV-AM was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until February 1, 2020. Our license will expire on February 1, 2020. We must file an application for renewal with the FCC on October 1, 2019. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for public inspection at www.fcc.gov. It contains information concerning this station's performance during the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and to whether the station has operated in the public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by January 2, 2020. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at 11700 Central Highway, Unit 1, Jacksonville, Florida 32224, or may be obtained from the FCC, Washington, D.C. 20554, www.fcc.gov.
Get super savings on over 1,000 vehicles on the lot right now at Arlington Toyota. It's the 2020 Supra Sales Event going on now at Arlington Toyota. Plus, you'll pay up to 50% less on remaining 2019 Toyotas. You heard right, up to 50% less on remaining pre-owned 2019s. Looking at a 2019 Toyota Highlander? It's not $35,500. Now, it's only $24,888. That's $24,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota Highlander at Arlington Toyota. Thinking about a 2019 Toyota 4Runner? It's not $36,500. No way. Now it's just $28,888. Just $28,888 for a pre-owned 2019 Toyota 4Runner at Arlington Toyota. But Arlington gives you even more with their $5,000 Advantage Club. It comes with your purchase and it's packed with savings, discounts, rewards, and even a national lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles for new purchases. Shop Arlington Toyota today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/super savings for offer details.
Trust, tradition, and quality. A winning combination to feel good about your home. Sometimes it's just that time to replace your roof. Or maybe you need to fix your roof after a recent storm. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jax. And there are so many roofing companies in the area. But which one can you trust? Let me tell you about my friends at Jack C. Wilson Roofing Company. Trust a family-owned business with owners that grew up right here in Jacksonville. Talk to the owners directly. Get free estimates. And you can trust Jack C. Wilson Roofing to walk you through each step of the process. Tradition? Jack C. Wilson is a name you know. The longest-standing roofing company in Northeast Florida. They have been repairing and replacing asphalt shingle roofs since 1946. How about quality? A roof you will tell your neighbors about. Quality from start to finish, shingle by shingle. You can request a free estimate at jackcwilsonroofing.com. It's the first name in Jacksonville roofing. And make sure you let them know Brent Martineau sent you.
Vida de Louis, a locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville, wants to help our friends in the Bahamas. Hey, everyone, this is Austin Lane.
And I'm Brent Martineau. Vida de Louis is one of the smoothest tequilas you'll ever taste. It's made in Tequila, Mexico, and shipped directly to Jax Beach. But Vida de Louis has friends all over the world, and that includes in the Bahamas. Help us raise money for the Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising.
Check out Vida de Louis on social media and the website vidadelouis.com.
50% of all merchandise will go to these funds. Please help Vida de Louis help the Bahamas by going to vidadelouis.com.
We're local, you're local, shop local. This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Talking to Chris Long, have you at all had any itch about playing again?
I'm not going to lie, I get the itch from time to time. If I ever got an opportunity that was right for me, and I'd look at it.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane. Give the guys a call. Grab your cell phone and call *690. This is ESPN 690.
Hey, guys. You should have gone for the extra point, at least do a tie. The way we're playing, this would have given us a better chance.
I'll consider the sound off on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and some people wanted the tie. They really did. And said, hey, they hadn't scored at all other than an 11-yard field, so they're not going to score a touchdown. I mean, I get the thinking. I understand. I see it from both ways. You know, in the hindsight's easiest, of course. But I don't mind the two-point conversion. I don't think a lot of people mind it. I just don't think they like the play.
And this is me speaking from a football perspective again, here, a football player perspective, Brent. So say they go for two, they don't get it. I can't speak for everybody on that defensive side of the ball. I'm just speaking for what I would have probably thought. A part of me, if I'm playing defense on the Jacksonville Jaguars, thought, you know what, Marone didn't trust in us enough to say if it goes to overtime that we can't stop the Houston Texans offense as well.
Yeah.
And that's just a part of it.
I thought about that.
I mean, if I'm a player, I
thought about it.
I would be a fan for my coach saying, you know what, let's win the game right now. We're on the road. Let's do it. I'm not faulting Marone for that kind of thing at all. But I'm just saying from the locker room perspective, you have to ask the question if some players on defense felt like, well, that they kind of did us a disservice because they didn't believe that we could stop Houston.
Yeah. I think there was a couple I sensed that they were dragging, too, Houston. I thought they were gassed.
Yeah.
And I think he said, they said they decided beforehand, so that didn't factor in. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was a good decision just in hindsight based on that because they looked gassed. And so you keep it on and you surprise them a little bit, and they're really not even mentally ready. They think you're going to tie it up, because sometimes that's part of it. Everybody thinks you're just going to tie it up, so mentally you're like, wait a minute, they're going for 2? Uh-oh, we might lose this game.
Yeah.
You know, you almost have a mental edge in that situation, keeping your offense out there. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane here at the Golf Club at Southampton. The Action Sports Jax Dream 18 2019 edition in the books. Raised more than $30,000 for St. Michael Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Now over $100,000 for the causes.
Awesome.
In the 10-year history of the Dream 18. Really 5 years of the golf tournament. That's when we started raising a lot of money for the charity. So we appreciate everybody's support. And Action News Jax John Bachman was part of the festivities today with Mike Burrish. He joins us from back in the studio, getting ready for tonight's shows on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Hope you hit the golf ball well today, Johnny Bachman.
Well, hey, fellas. Yes, you know what? I did actually hit the ball pretty well. We had a blast, and, anytime you're out on the golf course during the beautiful weather with Mike Burrish having fun, it's a great event. And, Brent, I just want to give you kudos, man. It was as every year, it's just a better event, and you guys are just doing such a great thing for our community. So thank you very much for all of your hard work that you and your whole family put into the event today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's a good amount of work, but it was fun, and we had the kids out here today, too. And by the way, Ty was supposed to volunteer, and Kaylee did help a little bit. And Ty jumps in a golf cart with one of the guys that coaches him in baseball, and they needed a 4th player, and he plays. So I don't
he
think
must
that
have done
really
pretty
counts
well,
as
too.
I don't think that counts as community service, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's a volunteer job. He did volunteer. Was he paid?
I don't think so. So yeah,
right, there you go. That's volunteering.
Is he there with you?
Man, yeah, no, it was a great day. And again, kudos to you, Brent. I mean, really, folks at home, you don't realize how hard this guy works all the time anyway, but especially when this thing rolls around, it is a nonstop effort for him on the phone all the time, getting these sponsors together and making sure that thing is successful for a lot of kids in our area. So I can't say enough about it.
Hey, I will say this real quick, and I appreciate it. You and Mike Burrish, I appreciate you saying that, and it means a lot. And to me, it's more of our department and our brand, our Action Sports Jax, and everybody that's associated with the TV station, now radio station. But I will say, and John, you know about this stuff, when you get in this business, and for me, obviously getting in the sports business, and I always said, I want to do a golf tournament. And I want to do something like, or whatever it is, you might say. I want to go talk to kids and read it to kids at school. You think about some of those things because you kind of saw it growing up. And so I've always said I want to do a golf tournament. And so to me, it's probably my favorite day of the year, just to kind of see it all come together and say, hey, I've been knowing I wanted to do this in terms of being on TV and radio and all that stuff since I was like 12.
Yeah.
And this is part of it. This is part of the platform we get to use and try to raise some money for some great organizations and have some fun and celebrate sports in our area, and also have fun with people that we meet and greet and see, and some of the connections you've been able to make over the, for me now, the last dozen years. So it is really a cool day for me, selfishly, but really a great day, I think, for all of us, Action Sports Jax, Action News Jax, and everybody at the Cox Media Group as well. All right, hey, enough of that stuff. What do you have coming up tonight on CBS 47 and Fox 30? What's happening in the world? Because I hardly saw a thing today.
Well, there's a lot going on, and I debated on which ones I wanted to highlight for you because I knew we'd be talking about such a great event and something you're so proud of. So I'm going to hold off on some of the really crazy stuff. But I will tell you this. Get ready to gas up your truck, Brent, because the fuel prices are about to go up. Probably, as you heard, probably Saudi Arabia was attacked. The production facilities were attacked by drones. They think it was Iran, probably. And the latest story out of there is that it may have cut their production in half. And so if they're not able to get those facilities back up and running quickly enough, it could cause gas prices to go up a little bit. And I know you drive a truck like I do, so you and I are going to feel that a little bit.
Well, we might be
in the near future.
carpooling down here.
Yeah, we could do that. We could totally carpool. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
We should do that anyway.
We maybe should do that anyway.
Can you imagine? Oh, that's such a bad idea. That is the worst idea ever.
That is a pretty bad idea. Unless on the way home we stop at an establishment.
Well, then we'd have an automatic designated driver. There you have
That's
it.
Right. Absolutely.
That's right. And then I'll leave you with something a little more entertaining, more Austin speed. You ready, Austin?
Oh, I hope so. I don't know. We'll see.
So a couple you guys might have gotten your alerts on this if you have the Action News Jax app. but a couple was pulled over. I think they were arrested for drunk driving, maybe. But they got put into a patrol car, and apparently their night of fun wasn't quite done yet, and they then got added charges for some of the fun they had in the back of that patrol car.
Okay, because I was seeing like more my speed drunk driving. Come on, man.
No, that's not what I
meant.
meant.
Then all of a sudden he's like on the back seat. I'm like, oh, okay, I see where we're going now.
Now you're okay with it. Now you're okay
well,
with it.
I'm not saying I'm okay with it, but I'm like, I see where it's going here.
Why does
I got you.
Why does every one of our conversations like this revert back to that time about prostitution?
It just seems like a good regular segment. I feel. I don't know.
By the way, if you're just joining us, go look at the archives. That one's too hard to explain. Okay?
Yeah, I guess you had to be there.
But nobody's been arrested for anything.
No,
okay?
no.
Let's just make
Listen,
that clear.
one more while we're in the whole like Pat Brent on the back. We'll just do this. I'll get it all out of the way on one day, and then the rest of the year we can just we can give him his usual grief. I was playing golf today with your buddy Nick, right, from the radio station, Brent.
Yeah, Nick.
And I said, hey, Nick, how's this show doing anyway? I'm like, is he just sucking it up or what? And you know what Nick said is that you guys are doing fantastic. Like, I mean, your show is really doing great. So just a shout out to you guys, both of you guys, because I mean that's pretty something to be proud of. You know what I mean? Give me some, give me some love back there, Coos.
Yeah, that'll baby Coos.
That's a standing ovation right there, fellas.
You know what that was right there? That was Coos just applauding himself.
Yes, yes.
Because he makes it go.
Well,
but hey, listen. We don't lie about the promotion part. Fastest growing sports radio station in Jacksonville.
That's
it really is, and this is what we waited for this time of year with the Jags, and it's been ugly in terms of the results, but there's been a lot of different talking points, and we're not done talking about them here today. I know you've got a show to get to.
Carry on.
CBS 47, Fox 30 tonight at 5 o'clock. And just a reminder on the TV side, after John, Tanika, and Mike are done on TV from 5 to 7 on CBS 47 and Fox 30, we'll take over on CBS 47 live at Top Golf. You're more than invited to come on out for Jags Report Live tonight at 7 o'clock. I think we'll have a lot to talk about on the TV side as well.
Yeah,
Thanks, John. Sure. Appreciate you playing today, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me, and I'm glad they went for 2. Bye.
There you go. Good thought. Get your 2 cents in on that one. Everybody else is. All right, when we come back, I do want to get the ball in and falling, but it may incorporate some of these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What's the problem with the quarterbacks now? I'll give you a list of them. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's done for the year. Drew Brees, how much of an impact is that on the Jags game? And how much has the Jags game schedule now changed in your opinion? Will we be talking Friday if they get a win over Tennessee at 1-2 and half a game out in the AFC South? We'll be talking about, well, listen, Denver, they're not very good. Carolina, they're not that great. Drew Brees isn't playing for New Orleans. It's funny how it changes in the NFL.
It is.
And all it takes is a W. Let's talk about it. Welcome your calls on all the issues. Star 690 as we continue. Live from the Golf Club at Southampton, home of the Dream 18 here in 2019.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The Ballad of Gardner Minshew wrote another verse yesterday when the magical mustachioed rookie almost pulled off a last-second victory in Houston. The Jags lost their second in a row, but Coach Doug Marrone has a lot of faith in his young QB.
And then, on that last drive, I mean, you can see the poise that the kid has and was able to go down the field and score. He's never, tell you guys before, he's not a guy that gets rattled. He's fine on the sideline. He understands, what we're trying to get accomplished and what we want to do. So I couldn't be happier with him.
And around the NFL, the Steelers will be without their QB1 for the rest of the season. The second-year man, Mason Rudolph, will guide the sleigh, while Big Ben goes on IR for an elbow injury. And Roethlisberger isn't the only big name that's going to miss time. Saints quarterback Drew Brees is out for 6 weeks with a hand injury. It's like fantasy football anarchy out there. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Hurricanes can cause severe damage to your home or property, so if you need storm repairs, make sure you use only Florida licensed contractors. Remember to check their references, get everything in writing, and don't pay up front. To verify your contractors are licensed, contact the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation online at myfloridalicense.com. That's myfloridalicense.com.
At Planet Fitness, you can join a great gym for just 25 cents down, so you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. You get both. Tons of equipment or free fitness training? Both. Great price or a clean environment? Yep, both. Join Planet Fitness for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value. Join in-club or online at planetfitness.com.
Flash sale extended. Hurry, 25 cents down, ends Tuesday, September 17th.
See club for details.
Pop quiz. If you sell a home for $500,000, how much would a traditional real estate agent charge in commission? If you guessed $25,000 to $30,000, you're right. But if you think that's the only way, you're wrong. This is why thousands of homeowners are making the switch to Rex. With Rex, you get a dedicated agent and a full-service experience at a fraction of the cost. Rex uses game-changing technology to cut out the middleman and save homeowners tens of thousands of dollars in fees. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME. Remember, this is your home. Why give an insane amount of equity away to an agent? Rex offers the lowest fee in the industry without skimping on service. You'll work with a licensed local expert with you every step of the way. Get the most out of your home. See if you qualify by calling 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-REX-HOME.
Florida, CQ 1057788.
Right now at Beard's Jewelry, get 5 years zero interest financing on anything and everything.
That's right, 5 years, zero interest with no money down. But the response has been so incredible, we're extending it till the end of September. How about a $3,000 designer setting? You pay just $50 a month.
Or a $2,500 pair of diamond studs? You pay less than $42 a month.
Take advantage of Beard's Diamonds' already low prices. Then spread your payments out over 60 months and get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about.
How about a GIA certified diamond with a Tacori or Veragio setting for $12,000? You pay just $200 a month.
Fine jewelry has never been better. Take advantage of the largest inventory in North Florida, all at unbelievable prices. Divide your total by 60, and that's what you pay a month.
Beard's Jewelry, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Visit beardsdiamonds.com. See the difference. Save thousands.
Look at Jerry Jones' face when he said what he said. He looks pissed. He's had this man's back while paying him in excess of $5 to $6 million.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, this just in, Doug Marrone talking on his usual Marrone on Monday news conference and saying no punishment for Jalen Ramsey. There will not be any discipline levied against Jalen Ramsey, the Jaguars star cornerback, for the outburst on the sideline yesterday. Okay, here we go. Brent Martineau, along with former Jags player Austin Lane. And just to reset things a little bit, Austin surprised me to a degree and didn't think Jalen was that much in the wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No,
right?
yeah, let me go. Yeah, you want to just reiterate it one time?
Your thought on Jalen yesterday, and how much did you have a problem with what went down on the sideline?
Yeah, so basically how I'm going to say it is like this. The outburst on the sidelines, yeah, I mean, that's never a good look for anybody, right? Like, it's never a good idea, to yell at a coach or to raise your voice to a coach, obviously. He's the guy that runs the show. So from that perspective, yeah, probably not the best look on Jalen. But I'm also, I guess you can probably say I'm taking Jalen's side here as well, because I've been very adamant about this, and I think everyone that's listening is going to agree with me. I think Jalen Ramsey is the best football player on the Jacksonville Jaguars, hands down.
I agree with
and I think when the best football player on a team, whether he's a captain or not, says, hey, coach, we should throw this flag right here because the play that I was directly involved in, I felt like the refs got it wrong, and you turn to your coach and say, hey, let's throw that red flag, and the coach doesn't do it, I take that as a form of disrespect, and I take that as a form of a coach not trusting a player, especially your best player. And I feel like there's other players around the NFL, and and Brent, you brought up a great point. Talk about wide receivers. I think it's a little different being from the wide receivers standpoint than it is with the defensive standpoint, because with the wide receivers, if you're on offense, you have a chance to see the play, right? Like you have a chance to look at the jumbotron, or the people in the box can call down and say, oh yeah, he definitely caught that ball, throw the challenge flag. On defense, it's a little different because everything's happening so fast, right? Like, you don't really have time to maybe check the replay because you have to get ready because the offense is coming back out. Mm-hmm. You're kind of at the offense's tempo. So there wasn't really a chance, I think, to see the replay to see if it was a catch or was not a catch. You basically were going off of Jalen Ramsey's word. And when Jalen Ramsey puts his word out there, I feel like as a head coach, you have two options. Either you trust him, you go with your players, and you say, you know what, I got your back. Because we always talk about Doug Marrone having his players back, right? When it was last year and Fournette was throwing those punches, when it was last year and Yeldon's on the sidelines, name your time when it unraveled for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. What was always the constant of that whole thing? Doug Marrone was always having his players back, saying that ball's on me first. I got to take care of things.
That's a very good call to bring up the history of that. Not just this year, it was last year.
And I get that. And you know what? And as a player, you respect that in Doug Marrone, right? Like, Doug Marrone's basically in the trenches taking all the grenades while the players are just kind of getting, off scot-free.
Yeah, free pass.
Yeah, but at the same time, it means even more, like you say you have the players back. You say it starts with you. Well, what a better way to exemplify than having a player's back, than trusting his judgment call when he says that DeAndre Hopkins didn't catch the ball. And, Doug Marrone stuck to his guns and said, I'm not going to throw the flag, and then we saw what transpired after that. So I'm just saying, from a former player's perspective, I felt like Jalen Ramsey felt disrespected, and I felt like he lost some of the trust that is so crucial in building a winning team.
Well, and let's be honest. You said you brought up the Tom Brady incident, on the sideline years ago with Josh McDaniels, and everybody's like, he's got a big fire about him, and he loves to win. And by the way, there was a big segment of the Jaguars fan base, I mean, at least that I interact with on social media, and I see on social media, that is similar. Like, guy loves to win. The guy's competitive. I like that about him, and they love Jalen. I mean, there's at least this segment does. I think a lot of people do. And so they defend Jalen on this. I have an issue with the nudge of the coach. To me, that's where it crosses the line. And I want to be clear on what I said on this, too. I thought the yelling is one thing. You're being competitive. It's emotion. It's a heated moment, and you disagree. Whatever. Mm-hmm. TV camera is going to catch it. So what? Doug can take that. That happens all the time. That happens probably a lot more than anybody wants to admit. Yeah. Players get into it with players. Coaches get into it with coaches. Coaches get into it with players. That happens.
It has to happen, right? That's the landscape.
But we saw a bump, a nudge, not a shove, but that can't happen. That can't happen. That crosses the line. And then I'll also say this. I thought Doug was wrong in going back at Jalen Ramsey for whatever he said to him, but it allowed the TV cameras to catch it in another blow-up. Yeah. Another outburst took place, separate than the first one. So I thought he was in the wrong to do that too. But again, to me, the nudge crosses the line of some way, shape, and form discipline. I think a suspension is too harsh right now. Jags need to win a football game. That's part of it. But I think it's too harsh. I think there's a heavy fine, and I really think where they should have handled it is to bench his behind for a couple of series right after that. If I was the head coach and I could go back and do that, he nudges me, I sit him down. I don't care if DeAndre Hopkins scores on the next two possessions. That's how you teach your team. Yeah. That's what happens. That's how you teach accountability. If he goes and scores because you can't defend him and you're not out there, well, you hurt the team by nudging the head coach. That's where I would have gone if I could do it in hindsight. And Doug now and the Jaguars now are saying, we're not doing anything. And listen, I'm not sitting here saying they should have kicked him off the team or never play him again. I feel like this incident, you kind of had to do something for Jalen Ramsey, and they did absolutely nothing. I'm surprised.
Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down quick. This isn't a situation like it was in Buffalo where Leonard Fournette threw that punch and then he got disciplined far after that as well. This isn't an incident where TJ Yeldon, was kind of seen moping on the sidelines in Houston during the last game last season. these aren't the instances. This isn't an instance like last year where Odell Beckham Jr. got in a fight, not one, not two, I think like 3 times with a kicking net. You know, like those incidents right there. Like, can you imagine having to come on the show, Brent, and talk about Odell Beckham Jr. getting in a fight with a kicking net? I couldn't have his back on that one. I've been like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I've been like, yeah, Brent, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you know, I can't
tough
take
one to defend.
Yeah, tough one to defend. But the difference between those examples I just gave and the Jalen Ramsey example is this is a direct correlation of just wanting to win. It really is. It's a direct correlation of you not getting a call that you wanted, the Texans driving down there and scoring a field goal. Now, yes, did Jalen Ramsey drop a sure-handed touchdown that would have changed the whole momentum of the game? Absolutely. Could have the interception, 88 and out the gate. It's a whole new ballgame, and I understand that. But I'm just saying from the first quarter, from that series, that could have been a big momentum changer as well. All of a sudden, it's 4th down, and the Jaguars get the ball back without that field goal from the Texans. Who knows what was going to happen? And once again, yes, hindsight's 20/20, yada yada yada. But I'm just saying, if I was a head coach, I have a hard time. And whether you think he nudged him, whether it was just a miscommunication, whatever it was. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of malice behind it, but that's up for debate, and I understand that. But if I'm a head coach, and I take a look at myself and I'm like, let's analyze what just happened. A player got mad at me, a player yelled at me, and a player might have nudged me. Why? Because I didn't listen to him, I didn't make the call, and in my heart of hearts, I assume that he just wants to win so badly. He wants to be successful. He's tired of losing, that he may have overreacted a little bit. And if that's the case, if I'm a coach, I'd be like, you know what, let's talk about it, let's hash this out, let's speak man to man, and let's move on from there. And I wouldn't discipline him. Now, if it's Odell Beckham Jr. and you're kicking, field goal or kicker nets or something like that, or if you're causing a distraction on the sidelines that's directly correlated to you just being selfish, well then yeah, you're sitting because there's no room for that. See, and you call me hypocrite, whatever you want to call me, but I think with what Ramsey did, how he acted, I think there is room for it because there's a direct correlation of him being pissed off because that call didn't help them win the ball game.
Yeah, it's. I think it's fair to ask this question. I don't know if I believe this, but I do think it's fair to ask this question. What is Tom Coughlin's role in that building? Like, there is no way. Is there, or is this a different Tom Coughlin, or am I out of my mind? But Tom Coughlin, a Tom Coughlin football team has any tie to? There's no discipline for that? Do you believe that? I mean, do you believe if Tom Coughlin – he had some issues in New York, by the way. He had Odell. He had Strahan. He had guys. And he had issues. And sometimes he wasn't always a disciplinarian as much as people think.
Yeah.
He had some leeway to him. But is it fair to wonder and fair to ask and be like, Tom Coughlin's not doing anything anymore in this team. Like, really doesn't even have a handprint on this team because this is Doug Marrone's team. And I'm not saying that's the wrong thing. I'm not saying he should be calling all the punches. I'm just saying, does this kind of change the perspective of kind of the pecking order in that Jags building right now when there's absolutely no discipline for Jalen Ramsey after yesterday? And by the way, Ramsey, it is important to note out, has a history. This isn't a one-off thing with Jalen. He got suspended a year ago in training camp.
For fighting.
He was fortunate, for yelling at the media, really.
Okay, yeah.
But that, I think, was a buildup of things. We have no idea other things that have happened, and I'm not suggesting they are, but who knows if some have. And he almost put himself in jeopardy getting kicked out last week. So this isn't like the first time is my point. Mm-hmm. But let's go back to what I asked.
Well,
I mean, Tom Coughlin, is he even a factor in that building anymore?
I'm going to shoot this question to you straight, and I want your honest opinion here. And you can take Tom Coughlin into mind or not. If the Jaguars were to bench Jalen Ramsey for a couple series, a quarter, maybe even a half, who knows, maybe even a game. Maybe there's new footage out there that shows Jalen Ramsey blatantly pushing Doug Marrone. Yeah. Say that happens. If you were to suspend him at all, do you lose Jalen Ramsey then in trying to get him a new free agent deal? When you try to sign him back, do those thoughts of Jalen Ramsey getting benched, do those linger with himself? Do those linger with the agent? And now all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And I'm hitting up the deuces.
Yeah, but I feel like there's already been 5 incidents we've asked that question about. Not really incidents like this, but things. Whether they didn't pay Yannick Ngakoue or whether they told them they weren't going to work on it. I feel like we've brought that up before, like, Jalen's not going to want to go sign a big extension here in Jacksonville.
No, yeah.
And now I think you kind of wonder, again, we don't know what goes on day to day, but if things are going on day to day for the Jaguars that they don't like, and there's a lot more of this stuff from number 20, do they want him around? I mean, I know we're all asking, does Jalen want to be here? Mm-hmm. But do they want him around? And the bottom line here is we don't know if this regime will be around.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I feel like you can't think like that if you're Doug Marrone, if you're Tom Coughlin right now. But you brought up a great point, Brent. It is weird that it seems like as the weeks, as the months have progressed, I feel like Tom Coughlin's thumbprint is getting just more and more just fading away from the whole situation. And we saw that kind of start when the Jaguars, and I forgot what the situation even was where they faced a possibility of tampering, was it? What was something with Coughlin where he said something or did something?
Yeah, that was at the state of the franchise when he said he wanted 100% of the players here.
There we go. Yeah. It seems like ever since then.
That's a good call.
Ever since then, we haven't really heard of Coughlin. We haven't really seen his thumbprint on any of this team.
Very good call there. That's good remembering. You didn't misremember. You were
I didn't
right.
misremember, yes. I'm right. Every once in a while I can remember something.
Hey, more of this and more quarterback talk. Wow. What's your reaction to it? Is Tom Coughlin even a factor in the building for the Jaguars anymore? And we will get the ball in the fall, and I promise.
It's all
good.
It's
on Action
I
Sports
got time.
Jax on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. All right? Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
No idea. In fact, I left to go get something to eat because our pick wasn't for much longer in the draft.
You're supposed to pick 16th, yeah.
On ESPN 690.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st, and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
There is one name synonymous with joint replacement excellence, and that name is Heekin of the Heekin Clinic. For 18 years, Dr. R. David Heekin and his staff have been the leader for treatment of hip and knee pain. Eliminating hip and knee pain through advanced surgical and non-surgical techniques has been Dr. Heekin's sole goal since retiring from the Army in 2001. If you're looking to ease your hip and knee pain, schedule an appointment today and call 328-5979 or visit HeekinClinic.com. That's HeekinClinic.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you.
Okay.
Then you need to be online where they look for you.
Online, huh?
Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for all that. I need to run my business. Alexa, can you help me find someone that can help me with online marketing?
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Codan is now Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level so you can get back to running it. Local Solutions, powered by Cox Media Group. Marketing solved.
I think it's time to let go.
Top-ranked Clemson at the Syracuse Orange. Coverage begins Saturday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ABC. Presented by Goodyear.
Hi, I'm Ryan Murphy, Olympic gold medalist. You're watching Action Sports Jax.
If the coach had challenged the bad catch by Houston, the Jaguars would have actually won a game. Ramsey was right.
Oh, there you go. A little sound off on Action
That was
Sports
me,
Jax
actually.
on ESPN 690.
That was me after the game. I had a little bit too much to drink, and I apologize.
He certainly agreed with you, that caller right there. By the way, you can jump in on the phone lines anytime, really. Start 690. But on a game day when the emotions are flowing, and maybe not the only thing flowing, jump in on Star 690, and you can leave a message with your thoughts, and we will play them here on Reaction and Overreaction Monday. But there's plenty to react about for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And once again, if you're just joining us, no discipline for Jalen Ramsey set off by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Doug Marrone says no suspension, no discipline, nothing of the kind. And I almost wonder, thinking about this one more time, and we'll get to some of the things. But it's such a big topic. It's an interesting topic. I think it could go a long way of maybe the path this football team leads that we don't really see, but how it internally operates. You know, that relationship between the coach and the locker room. Yeah. And we don't see that. That's not a visual thing for everybody, but it's a thing, right? You've played in them. I mean, that is a thing. And an important part of the cog in a football season, a long football season at that. So it'll be interesting on that front. They did not do anything. They chose not to. And before the break, I asked you this, and it just gets to thinking, and you brought up a great point. When Tom Coughlin said at the State of the Franchise, we want 100% participation.
Yeah.
And there were some players that were not there, Jalen Ramsey included. He has been quiet ever since then. The league issued a statement at that point. But I think it's bigger than that. It's beyond that. When you see a situation like yesterday and nothing happens, isn't it fair to question whether Tom Coughlin is even putting a fingerprint on the football team at all anymore? I think the first year when they went 2017, they went to the AFC Championship game, everybody gave the love to Coughlin. Everybody like, hey, Coughlin, he changed it. From a Gus Bradley players coach, no accountability, no discipline, he changed it, man. Here comes Coughlin back, the sheriff's back in town, and everybody's wearing khaki pants. Nobody can walk down the halls anymore, and this football team got it. They were better. They won football games. Blake Bortles played the best year of his career, and the credit was TC is back. Yeah. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve some of that credit. I think Doug Marrone deserves a lot of that credit too, but Tom Coughlin got a lot of the credit. Well, last year everybody got a little bit of the blame, in my opinion. And now it's almost, like you said, fading away in terms of the fingerprint on the football team. It's almost ghost-like. We don't really hear from Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
We don't see Tom Coughlin. There's not a sense at all. I don't feel like people are saying, oh, Tom Coughlin's out on that practice field. No doubt about that. He's pulling the punch. He's calling the shots. This is Doug Marrone's football team. I don't know what that means necessarily. I'm not saying it's even a bad thing. But if for anybody who thinks this is like a Tom Coughlin run deal,
no,
I think this is an exclamation point that this is Doug Marrone's football team. Because Tom Coughlin, I think, would have probably wanted to discipline Jalen Ramsey. I can't believe he would not want to discipline Jalen Ramsey.
So I think, like we talked about, Brent, I think when that whole thing came out, he said he wanted 100% participation, which, by the way, I mean, that's not a shocker that Tom Coughlin said that, right? Like, it wasn't like he said that, like, oh, I can't believe he would say such a thing. No, that's Tom Coughlin to a T. But then what happened, Brent? He got in trouble for saying it. And, I can't remember if he apologized or not, but he seemed remorseful. He seemed like he wanted just to get a point across. But then he goes kind of just, off the grid and quiet after that. And it kind of begs the question here. And to me, it reminds me of like Shawshank Redemption. All right, it reminds me of the character Brooks. When Brooks is in jail for so long and he's used to doing the things a certain way, right? Tom Coughlin's used to doing things the old school way, the old school mentality, whether it was in Jacksonville for his first stint or it was in New York. There was an expectation, there was a way players acted, and it was his way or the highway. Well, he comes back to Jacksonville now, and just like Brooks was in Shawshank Redemption when he got out of jail, and he realizes that, holy crap, the whole landscape's changed. And maybe I can't relate. Maybe I can't adjust anymore. Maybe it's not worth the effort. And I'm not trying to talk bad about Tom Coughlin at all. I mean, I've talked to him a couple of times. I got a lot of respect for that dude and the way he coaches, and his philosophies. I'm just saying that if you look at the landscape of the league now, it's a young man's league. It's a young man's game, and the game has changed, Brent. Like I always talk about all the time, and listen, I've been out of the game now for 5 years, and I see the things that happen. I'm just like, dang, man, like back when I played. I said back when I played. Dude, that was 5 years ago. That's not that long ago.
You're 31.
I'm 31 years old, and I'm saying back when I played all the time when I see like these new players. But it's just the way it is, and I think, like I've said before on the show many times, the great coaches, they can adapt, and they can make it work for them, and if you can't, unfortunately, then you're a fossil, you're a dinosaur, and you have to get out of the way and let the new school guys come in. It's just the way it is.
Oh, and I think Doug Marrone even feels old at times. I mean, this isn't like a 72-year-old man, 73-year-old man, or a 55-year-old man thing. This is just like a change in the culture of the NFL. We talk about branding a lot. There's more player empowerment, and there's a lot of money. on the line now, and those players are making a lot of money. So I just think it has to be. Tom Coughlin, I'm not saying he has no influence. I'm not saying he's not respected. This isn't a knock against Coughlin. I'm just saying I think it's crystal clear this is Doug Marrone's football team.
Yeah.
And Tom Coughlin is not influencing it. If there is no discipline for Jalen Ramsey, that would have been a stamp from Tom Coughlin. It's not happening. One other thing, I think Doug Marrone realizes he made a mistake yesterday. This is the only conclusion I can get, that he should have disciplined him right then and sat him out for a couple of series at the very least. And because he didn't do it, he missed his chance.
There's that, but there's also that you got to ask this question as well. If you were to sit Jalen Ramsey, how does the team respond to that? Because listen, I don't know what the team thinks of Jalen Ramsey. I don't know what the team thinks about Doug Marrone. But yesterday, during that altercation, I saw a lot of teammates having Jalen Ramsey's back as opposed to having the head coaches back on that sideline.
Very good point. An hour to go here on the show. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Your thoughts, star 690 anytime. Shoelace is a dolphin. How about that? Denora Robinson joins us on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Hey, man, this is pretty cool news.
But it's exciting just to be back around football again. So,
Action Sports Jax, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to No Brainer. Gary.
I'll take cars and trucks.
What's the best way to protect your engine from gum, varnish, and corrosion?
Stay Bill 360.
Gasoline with ethanol can go bad in as little as blank.
30 days?
Using Staybill 360 ethanol treatment year-round is what?
Is it a no-brainer?
It is! You win peace of mind, Gary!
Awesome! Can I have money?
Staybill 360. It's a no-brainer. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Pros, start with Lowe's to get more of the brands you trust every day and at the right prices, including the Little Giant King Combo Ladder, the world's first step, extension, and leaning ladder for only $159. And find the supplies you use most and save by buying in bulk, like 20% off in-stock GAF or Owens Corning shingles when you purchase by the pallet. Order at lowesforpros.com and have your order delivered or pick up in store. Our dedicated pro loaders will load you up and get you back to the job site where you're needed most. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Selection varies by location, U.S. only.
On January 27, 2012, WOKV-AM was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until February 1, 2020. Our license will expire on February 1, 2020. We must file an application for renewal with the FCC on October 1, 2019. When filed, a copy of this application will be available for public inspection at www.fcc.gov. It contains information concerning this station's performance during the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and to whether this station has operated in the public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by January 2nd, 2020. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at 11700 Central Highway, Unit 1, Jacksonville, Florida 32224, or may be obtained from the FCC, Washington, D.C. 20554, www.fcc.gov.
Shop the 904.
This holiday season, shop local retailers right here in the 904.
When you shop local retailers, you're making an investment in our own community.
When you shop locally owned businesses, most of the money you spend with them stays right here in our community.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904.
Powered by Cox Media Group.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Lisi. A tough break for both the Saints and Steelers just 2 games into the season. Pittsburgh quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will have season-ending elbow surgery this week and miss the remainder of the year. The impact of that injury will be felt well beyond Pittsburgh, says former NFL receiver Brandon Marshall.
Not only for the Steelers, but this division. You got Ben Roethlisberger who can take over an entire game, right? Like, this guy can win he can win 6-7 games himself. with the guys around him playing bad. This is a huge blow. It changed the dynamic of the division. It changed the dynamic of the conference.
Mason Rudolph now is the Steelers starter. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting New Orleans QB Drew Brees will soon have surgery on his thumb, is expected to be sidelined about 6 weeks. Teddy Bridgewater likely starts in Brees' place. Giants coach Pat Shurmur non-committal about quarterback Eli Manning starting this Sunday at Tampa Bay. Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo has a lateral ankle sprain, no surgery needed. A timeline for his return will be determined in about a week.
Nature Valley Sweet and Salty Bars are the indulgent break you deserve in your day. Have you tried the dark chocolate, peanut, and almond flavor? Now that's a sit on the dock and take a moment kind of bar. Nature Valley Sweet and Salty Bars.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anna Jar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
It was the right decision, but the wrong call. You got a quarterback with a hot hand driving down the field in the fourth quarter. There's no reason why you should have put the ball in Leonard Fournette's hand. He hadn't done anything in the second half. Quarterback was red hot. He should have had the ball on the final play.
Oh, sound off from the Jacksonville Jaguars game. You can do that each and every game. All you got to do is call star 690. Brett Martin along with Austin Lane here on a Monday. Jaguars are 0-2, 13-12 losers against the Houston Texans, but they turn around. They play Thursday night in a huge, huge game. We were at the golf club at Southampton. Just had our Action Sports Jax Dream 18 for this year. Another fun event. Raised over $30,000 for St. Michael's Soldiers and North Florida Junior Golf Foundation, and now we go over $100,000 in the history of the Dream 18. Thanks for everyone who supported it, come out and play, and has put up with me talking about the Dream 18 for the last decade, really.
But no, as you should talk about it, man, because this is a cool thing. I mean, listen, I can't even plan what I'm going to wear for the next day, but for you to organize this whole event here, it's my first year actually kind of knowing about it and seeing you do your thing with it. Pretty cool deal, man. So congratulations.
Thank you. And you got a shirt out of it, which is was light gray, but it's a little
dark
gray.
I mean, genius though, right? Because you got me a gray shirt, and when I sweat through it, it's just like it's a dark gray shirt now. So
You're
it's all
a sweater.
Good.
Well, first of all, it's hot. I'm just saying it's hot.
Well,
thank you. Like today's not. It's not terrible. Like we've had hotter days.
Yeah.
And we are kind of in the sun. We're trying to.
Actually, I'm in the sun. You're kind of in the shade. It's all right though, man. It's all good.
Well, you're a little darker than me, so you need a little more sun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I have to get this maple syrupy brown skin as maple syrupy as possible. Appreciate it, man. Trying to get my summer body back,
Listen,
I guess.
We're trying to make it look good
it's
for
the
folks
fall.
at home.
Yeah, I guess so. Whatever.
Listen, back to the two-point conversion. We'll hear from Doug Marrone on Jalen Ramsey in just a moment, too. And we're going to hear from Doug Marrone on the two-point play. But that caller just said Leonard Fournette was doing nothing all day. And I think he's right. I don't know if he was hammering Leonard Fournette, but I do want to make it clear on this front. That was not a Leonard Fournette problem. Leonard Fournette had one heck of an effort. The reason why that was a bad call is because, in my opinion, you said, hey, the worst part of our offense, our offensive line that's killed us most of the day on several fronts anytime it's been a big situation, we're going to put this in your hands to block a good front and let Leonard get in the end zone. See, that's not a Leonard thing. Leonard needs the line to push. There was no push. Leonard actually made a heck of a second effort to even give that a chance to get in the end zone. Otherwise, he would have been stopped at the 2.5-yard line. So I'd be careful here. That wasn't a Leonard Fournette thing.
Yeah.
As much as it is an offensive line thing, and I think that's where they made an error in the decision-making process. Now, there is one other thing about it. Do you fall in love with Leonard Fournette too much because you say he's our bell cow and he's our guy and our best player on offense and we feel that way, so we want him to be the guy? We had said earlier, give it to the hot hand, right? Sometimes name your player outside of Michael Jordan and whoever else. They might have the hot hand. Steph Curry might have the hot hand. Or not the hot hand. It might be your best player.
Yeah.
But you might give it to another guy because
Derek
he's
Fisher.
hot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's probably a bad example because Curry's a big star. But you get my point.
No, for sure.
Keep it in the guy that was making plays. And that was Minshew at the time. Let him make one more play for you. He had just made 5 plays for you on that drive.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned it. Why would you want to put the ball with the game on the line with your offensive line who hasn't blocked well all day in the run game? I mean, Gardner Minshew was your leading rusher of the day. Those are now it's back to the whole Blake Bortles thing again, right? Why would you put that on your offensive line in a Leonard Fournette's hands? And I can guess, because I saw this on Twitter a little bit after the game. It's like, well, who's to say the offensive line would have blocked if it was a pass, right? People got to remember, and then let me break it down for everybody real quick. So when you're in a goal line situation, Brent, and you're a defensive lineman, because, hey, guess what? I played it a couple times. When you're in a goal line situation, the last thing you are worried about when it's, games on the line, on the 2-yard line, you are not worried about trying to get to the quarterback and get a sack. Okay, you're worried about being the guy on film that gets driven back 5 to 6 yards that loses, the game for your team. Because I guarantee the next day, if the Texans would have, gave up that run, there's going to be a guy dreading going in that film room, watching that last play, and seeing him get driven back in slow motion, costing that team the game. So with that being said, guys on the defensive line, they're always going to play the run first over the pass. Now, J.J. Watt, if you remember, and I think he said this in the press conference after, he's like, yeah, I had my eyes on Minshew the whole time. I was playing the quarterback. Well, yeah, because you had contained. All right, and that was people were trying to make that point, too, today. I saw on Twitter. It's like, well, J.J. Watt said that they were playing the pass the whole time, so the run's a good point. Well, J.J. Watt, if you go back and watch the play, he had contained the whole time. So, of course, he was playing the quarterback because that was his guy. Watch the play of J.J. Watt again. He does nothing. J.J. Watt stands up and, watches Minshew. I used to see that from J.J. Watt, right? Usually you see him, J.J. Watt swim move, go down and make the tackle. But that was Watt's responsibility on that play. So, from the fact, and like I talked about it in the beginning of the show, Brent, when you have the box stacked, when you have 8 guys, when you have Tayshaun Gibson coming right into the tight end's face and saying, it's probably going to be a run here. I'm not worried about the tight end. When you have the other safety coming downhill, not worried about the 3 receivers that are in trips right now, and this isn't a bunch trips. The trips are wide, so the receivers are going to be open. When you have those type of things, you got to put it in your quarterback's hands. Because let me ask this question, Brent: are you confident in D.D. Westbrook?
Yeah.
Are you confident in DJ Chark? Are you confident?
The first couple of weeks, I am.
Are you confident in Chris Conley?
Same thing.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point. So, in what you're saying, Houston gambled, right, a little bit and said, hey, let's see if the rookie can beat us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, all things indicate that they're going to put it in Gardner Minshew's hands, and they're like, we're going to stop the run. We're not worried about Fournette. We'll take care of that, no problem. Let's see if the rookie can beat us.
Yeah.
And guess what? You never have to find out.
Well, they won.
Yeah, they won.
Right
but you never have to find out if Minshew could beat you or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to Doug Marrone talking about the 2-point play. He just spoke to the media in the last half hour and doesn't regret it, other than the fact that it didn't work.
The call at the end of the game, I can only tell you what went into it. We think about, this a lot. One of the situations that we talk about every week is, hey, listen, we're going for 2 to win the game. What's going to be our call? And we have a bunch of two-point play calls on the sheet. Like I said before, I thought about it prior to the drive with the different scenarios. If they were going to come with pressure, we were going to be able to throw the football. If they weren't going to come with pressure, we were going to give the ball to Leonard and run. A great chance either which way what they wanted to do. I love the play. It looked good all week. We just, at the end of the day, didn't get enough push.
Well, they didn't. But again, kind of goes back to they hadn't got to push all day.
They haven't got to push all day, but also the pressure, Brent. I mean, there was 8 guys coming downhill, towards Leonard Fournette. To me, that's pressure. So if that's the case, then you got to pass.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Listen, I'm a defensive-minded guy, right? So maybe I have no position to talk about the offense, but I'm just saying if you got single coverage on every single wide receiver outlined out on trips, you got to have confidence in your guys.
Hey, we're going to get to Doug Marrone's reaction on Jalen Ramsey coming up in just a moment. But first, we're celebrating the end of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. We celebrate the day, but if you don't mind me, I'm going to celebrate the end of it as well. A little happy hour horn with Vita DeLuis.
Party now begin. See the beautiful ladies marching in. There's enough for everyone to win. We're gonna make this party the best thing happening. This is my favorite place. Nothing will replace. No. Nothing. Anything goes. Gangsters are rolling, half-face smiling. Heads up, think of the rhythm what you're drinking. Anything goes.
grab a drink, get a shot, and tip your startenders.
Yeah, you continue to count the number of players in the box on that play. And
I
I'll
will.
Continue to
I'll keep showing
talk
it.
a little bit about
Sorry,
Vita
man.
de Luis. 94 rating recently for Vita de Luis, and they're celebrating big time out in California as well at a festival. Vita de Luis, locally owned tequila right here in Jacksonville. And they want to help our friends in the Bahamas, too. Vita de Luis has friends all over the world. That includes the Bahamas. Help them raise money for Treasure Key Relief Fund and Hopetown Rising. You can do that by going to the website, VitaDeLuis.com. 50% of all the merchandise will go to these funds. Also want to thank Vita de Luis as they were one of the supporters of our Action Sports Jax Dream 18 today. In fact, all the winners, the first place teams, there were two of them, one for gross and one for net score, and all of them go home with a bottle of Vita de Luis tequila, among other things. And by the way, you know one of the things? Championship belt.
Ooh, so who ended up winning it today?
Scobie's group won one of them.
Okay.
They had a good group. And folks from the Best Bet also won first place. I forget which one, gross or net. And then we had a couple second-place teams,
Okay.
too.
Well, you're saying words like gross or net, and I don't know what those
Yeah,
mean, but that's okay,
gross
though.
is basically what they shoot as a team, and then you factor in the handicaps or the scoring system that we use, and that's a different scoring.
Okay.
So not just like, well, it usually
Sounds
works out
fair,
the best
Brent.
players win, but they try to make it fair.
Hey, Brent.
Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say, was it 17 where you got to kick the soccer ball to see where you saw? I thought that was a little unfair that Scobie got to kick one.
Well, you know, and word is, somebody told me this.
I heard this too.
I have no. Did you hear somebody
heard
said
this.
he kicked it 90 yards?
Well, I heard he actually got beat though.
Oh, he did.
I heard
90
I
yards
heard
is
another
like a
gentleman.
football. Can you kick a soccer ball 90 yards? Is that normal?
I don't think that's normal.
I don't think that's normal. I think somebody must have been joking with me.
How
when they
long's
said
a soccer field in the first place?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
a
I don't
football
know.
field's 100 yards. So
Yeah.
Can a soccer player kick from one end to the other? I mean, sometimes the goalie can.
Yeah.
I think. No?
I'm getting ready. I'm Googling. Brent.
Honestly, I have no idea. I really don't. So I don't know
Sorry.
if he could. Now, he used to
Soccer
play some
pitch,
soccer.
by the way, yeah.
I think he kicked it well. I think 90 yards might have been a gross miscalculation. Kind of like trying to flex on his drive, probably. But
Sure.
somebody did beat him on the soccer kick?
Yeah, so I've heard.
Was it the Jacksonville Armada? Who was?
Yeah, it might have been. I just had someone said that they beat him.
All right.
So a soccer field or a football pitch is flexible in size. It is up to 100 to 130 yards long. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I think so. Then you can kick a soccer ball. Derek, who owns the golf club at Southampton, played in that group.
Yeah.
Just said it was lasered. So I tried to kick today too, and
How'd that go?
It almost went into the pond.
Dude, I feel like you're gonna have a lawsuit. I mean, I'm not telling you how to run your own tournament here, but you might have a lawsuit in your hands if someone like tears their ACL trying to kick a soccer
We
ball.
sign
I'm just-
waivers here at the
Do you
Action
really?
Sports Jax
All
Dream
right,
18.
Fair enough. Good. Smart
I think.
man.
I don't
Smart.
know.
I'm just
I mean,
saying, man.
It's sponsored partly by the law offices of Ron Scholl, so I think
Okay.
Ron will help us out.
Well, I'm just saying the last thing I want to do is have to work for somebody else because they sued us. The only way to pay them back is to give them our radio show.
Yeah,
so.
Thanks again to, by the way, the law offices of Ron Scholl's, the Jacksonville Giants, and the Players' Championship for being our presenting sponsors. The Cadillac Dealers Association, they are our title sponsor here today at Sports Jax Dream 18. Almost gave away that car, man. 3 feet. That was on the hole-in-one hole. They hit 3 feet. And another one, Stewart said, rolled by.
Okay.
But not good enough for the car. One of these days, we're going to get a hole-in-one here on the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Before we send it to break, Coos, I want to get to ball and fall, and we will. I got to talk about these other quarterbacks going down, and I want to see what the schedule now lines up like for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But we've been talking a lot about Ramsey and the discipline and everything going on with Jalen yesterday and that whole situation. Let's hear from Doug Marrone about a half hour, 45 minutes ago now on the Ramsey situation.
No, those things happen. They happen all the time. I mean, I think now they're a little bit more publicized, but ever since I played, there's always stuff that goes on during the course of the game. I know when I was a line coach, they didn't see a lot of them though, because no one was really in on them. Those things occur, and it's a high intensity profession. There's a lot of emotion that goes on. I'm sure you guys know, just as fans, when you see the fans in the stands, they're playing in a game, they're locked in. Like I said before, we had a lot of intensity going into that game. We knew it was going to be a tough game. It was going to be on the road. We wanted to match that intensity. The Texans, coming off that tough loss that they had, we had it all. We were all jacked up. Do you like that being on? When you don't win games, that stuff's going to be on. That's going to be part of the thing that people are going to talk about. When you win, a lot of times everyone just moves on and talk about the win. It's just the way it is.
Well, that is true. He's right about that.
Correct.
But I don't think they were moving on from this one. This is a tough one for Doug to dance around, and he's dancing. Let's just be honest. I mean,
Dude,
he's dancing around this.
Talk about intensity. What's it going to be like for Tennessee then when Tennessee comes here Thursday night? Is someone going to get like jackknife powerbombed on a table if something doesn't go right?
And what is so noticeable, and what is still a bit, I don't know if it's surprising, but maybe remarkable, is at times how much Doug Marrone publicly has the players back. And he does. I don't know what else to say about it. He does. He didn't throw Miles Jack under the bus. Doesn't throw Jalen Ramsey under the bus. No discipline. In this situation, I think that the players owe Doug Marrone. I mean, it was an easier camp. He gave them a lot of leeway. Don't the players owe Doug Marrone? I mean, he's taking care of them, man. They better start playing like it.
Yeah. No, you're right at that aspect, Brent. I'm still kind of taken back by what Marrone just said in that press conference, because
it's hard to dance around that thing, man.
Yeah,
what else do you say? Emotions, intensity. There's no way to sugarcoat this. They lost their cool. They shouldn't have lost their cool.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have nudged the coach. Marrone shouldn't have gone back over, and somebody should have been probably disciplined for that.
Yeah.
And he missed the boat on it. He probably should have disciplined him right there, held him out for a series or two, and said, you're not going back in until you cool down, and that was it. Or Doug Marrone should have thrown the challenge flag, and then he should own up to it and say, I should have thrown the challenge flag. This wasn't on Jalen. He was right. I made the mistake.
No, for
You're
sure.
not getting any of those kind of answers, so he's trying to dance around it. And I get it. Sometimes you have to do that as the coach in front of the media, but there's no way to do it.
But this isn't who Doug Marrone is, right? And look, I've said it before on this show, Brent. The coaches that I played for, the coaches that really stick out to me, whether it was high school, college, or football, the ones I speak super highly of are the coaches that were true to themselves. Whether they would chew you out and embarrass you from the team or whether they were more players, coaches, and laid back, it didn't matter because at the end of the day, I respected them for being themselves. You got to ask your question right now, and you brought it up a little bit. I mean, is it got to the point now where Doug Marrone literally just kind of handed over the keys and he's not being true to who he is as a coach, and now players are seeing through that? And you have to ask yourself that question because I'll tell you what, whether it's on a radio show, whether it's in a football locker room or whatever it is, if I have a job to do, I'm going to do it to who I am as a person. And if people don't like it, then so be it. I'll see you guys later, but at least I stay true to who I am. The last thing I want to see happen to Doug Marrone now is to be walked out of, is to be fired from the Jacksonville Jaguars in a result of him not being himself.
Well, the players have two decisions. Take advantage of that and do whatever the heck they want to do on the football field, discipline or none, or they can have their coaches back and appreciate that and show some loyalty to that. All right, now they're 0-2 and not the best behavior on the football field in doing so. So they certainly have not shown the loyalty in having Doug Marrone's back. When we come back, balling and falling, what's going on with quarterbacks? And now the Jags' schedule doesn't look as difficult. Although when you're 0-2, everything's hard. It's next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A clear and mild night tonight, dropping to the 60s, inland to the 70s at the beaches. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds that guarantees you a $500 gift card if they can't beat anybody's price on a diamond.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st, and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need to be involved in the community. Then you need to...
Whoa. I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Codan is now Local Solutions, your local marketing team putting you at the top of mind. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today and let us take your business to the next level.
Good morning, class. A quick head count. Tiffany.
Here.
Zach.
Yup.
Steven. Is he absent again?
For many kids, just getting to school feels like a challenge. Staying through graduation is even harder. That's where Communities in Schools comes in. A powerful community of caring adults, working with vulnerable kids in schools every day, helping them overcome the barriers that stand in the way of learning. hunger, homelessness, health problems, and even emotional trauma. Communities in Schools. We're inside schools partnering with teachers and counselors, empowering at-risk kids by providing supportive relationships, doing whatever it takes to help them thrive in school and have brighter futures. Communities in Schools. We're in schools to help kids stay in school. See how we help all kids succeed at communitiesandschools.org.
That's what sleeping with a CPAP sounds like. If you can't use CPAP, imagine pressing a button and it sounding like this. That's sleeping with Inspire. No mask, no hose, just sleep. Inspire is a sleep apnea treatment that works inside the body with one click of a remote. That's right, just a button. If you have sleep apnea, great sleep awaits at inspiresleep.com. That's inspiresleep.com. Inspire. Sleep apnea innovation. No mask, no hose, just sleep.
Talk to your doctor to see if Inspire is right for you and review important safety information at inspiresleep.com.
Game of Thrones, the live concert experience, is coming to Jacksonville at Daly's Place on September 20th, and ESPN 690 has your chance to win tickets to the show. So head on over to the contest page at ESPN690.com to enter for your last chance to win a pair of tickets to the Game of Thrones live concert experience.
Hi, I'm Chris Berman, and every time I come back to Jacksonville, I listen and watch Action Sports Jax.
We continue to get better, and I see that. There's some guys, there's a lot of good stories. They're hard to write when you don't win. Trey Herndon, guys that stepped up, came in there and played. Quincy made some good plays. I thought Smoot played his butt off, played real hard. Taven, got some movement, did some things. And there's a lot of good stories in there, but again, they're only good stories when you win.
Yeah, that's true. And there were some guys that played well. Quincy Williams, man, he really laid that. That was an awesome hit.
Yeah,
that's what everybody's been talking about, by the way. They said once this guy gets pads on and he can fly and he likes to be violent, and you saw it on that play. That's a fun play for a linebacker.
And listen, and the game's going to come slower to him as time progresses and everything, and once that happens, I think you got a special player there because he's already showing glimpses of, playing 100 miles per hour, not hesitating. Once he gets the entire game down and he can diagnose things better, it's going to be he's going to be a good player. Let's just say
Absolutely. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane here at the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. We're at the golf club at Southampton. Thanks for hanging out with us. Had a great day. And we're about to do Ballin' and Fallin'. And really, Ballin' is everybody that helps put this tournament on and supports the tournament and the charities. Now over $100,000 raised in the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. 30,000 of it today. By the way, it was $30,300, and I added $33 to the charity just so I can get a little Larry Bird mention in.
Oh, there we go. Nice, man. Yeah, throw him for Larry Bird. Why not?
I tried to do that. I tried to do that when I sold my house, I should say our house, in Albany, New York. I had actually had my real estate license, and so I kind of helped sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did, the price was I forget where it was at, but it was close to and hovered. I was like, well, it was like 333 was somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, can we just make it 333? And, they did not find it humorous.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do it.
Okay.
I think it might have even saved them a couple bucks. And
Yeah,
they didn't
for
want
sure.
to do it. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It might have been like 400. I said, let's go back to 333. I
Yeah.
want to say I sold my house
Just for some
and it
good
had
juju.
333 in there.
Yeah. They weren't having it.
Grew up watching Larry Bird every night.
They weren't having it.
So, it didn't happen.
Well, let me ask this question quick, though. I mean, because, you're a baseball player, obviously. I mean, did you have aspirations to play basketball, like watching Larry Bird and everything?
Yeah. When I was a kid, when I was 11 and 12 and probably into 13, I played some middle school basketball, and I was really short.
Yeah.
Ty's small, and that's my fault.
Yeah.
And so I was really
Don't
small.
beat yourself up,
but
man.
see, the great thing about Ty is, he's pretty good at handling it. I can bust his chops or something, and
Sure.
people always bring it up, and he's smaller than everybody else, and he'll grow. It's coming soon, but it just takes a while. But he is better than I was handling it.
Oh, you were fighting everybody.
Oh, no, I was just I had a complex about it.
Oh.
Because, and I think part of that was I wanted to play basketball. And so, I would have literally, Mom, when am I going to grow? When am I go to the doctors? What's the doctor saying? How much am I going to be? Can I hang from a tree or something like this?
yourself out?
Anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 11, 12 years old, and everybody else is growing, and I'm tiny.
Yeah.
And so, but I did. That's how much I liked basketball.
Yeah.
I liked playing, but there comes a time in hoops, unless you're just super fast and really quick, that really your size does matter.
True.
And you feel like just a midget out there.
Yeah.
And that was the case for me. So I'd always played baseball too, but I did love basketball. I know I watched Bird, but I watched Pistol Pete videos.
Yeah, man,
And
for
I would
sure.
go out. I mean, I would stay out till 10, 11 o'clock at night in the driveway and shoot hoops and work on my dribbling and everything else. I really did like
those are two
basketball.
classic examples of guys who shouldn't have swag, but like
Yeah,
they had
that's a
more
good
swag
point.
than anybody. You
That's
know,
a really
like
good
they
point.
almost like were swaggerless so much that they had like the most swag than anybody.
That's true.
Shout out to Pistol Pete.
Hey, we're going to bring in Submarine Mike here. He wants to jump in on Ballin' and Falling. He's been hanging on. Sorry, man. We had to tell some little old school basketball story. But
That's my fault.
Let's jump in. What you got?
So Ballin', I want to give Ballin' to the Iceman's new third jersey. Straight fire. I was like, take
yes.
Very good.
all my money.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely.
And then Fallen, I got to give to Jalen Ramsey. I'm seeing the same things now with him that I saw with Antonio Brown as a Steelers fan about 7-8 years ago. It starts small like this, and I'm not trying to make anybody mad. This isn't some troll or I'm trying to stir the hornet's nest. I'm just being straight honest with you. Mike Tomlin did a lot of the same things of covering up and saying all these things happen with Antonio Brown. I swear I could go back and it's almost mirrored, and it's like pressing a tape and listening to Mike Tomlin, just a different voice. And it worries me because those guys are getting – there's a hierarchy in any job. And I think the NFL players are losing that hierarchy because they think, well, I'm great and I'm better than this coach. That's how it comes across, at least. And Austin, you played, so you know better than me. But I'm just telling you how it's coming across.
Oh no, absolutely, Mike. And first of all, man, don't ever apologize for having an opinion on this show, man. If you got something to say, you say it, man. You don't have to apologize for anything like that. But yeah, I do get what you're saying with going down the Antonio Brown route a little bit, and I would say that, well, if you look at Jalen Ramsey's history, he hasn't done anything that has warranted distractions outside of football, But then we can point to the GQ article and say, well, he did the GQ article, and one could argue, well, that was kind of a distraction to the team, and that wasn't really football related. Now, he was talking football things, but this was for a fashion magazine, keep in mind. With that.
Not much fashion in that piece.
Yeah, so I definitely get what you're saying there, man. It's something to kind of keep an eye on. I truly feel like, and Brent's mentioned this before on the show, and I've agreed with him, where I think in terms of Jalen Ramsey, he's playing a diva position, like a wide receiver position. But at the same time, he doesn't come across to me, and I may sound crazy here, like a guy who craves all the attention, that wants all the attention on him, like Deion Sanders did. I think when we talked about the whole
Antonio Brown,
like Antonio Brown, like the whole Brinks truck thing. Like, yeah, it may have been cringeworthy to some people, but that wasn't Jalen's idea, right? Like that was an Adidas promotion. I don't think Jalen would have thought to himself, what would be cool if I got a Brinks truck, showed up to training camp, and got all the attention on me. I think that was maybe a PR person or Adidas representative that talked him into doing that. So with that being,
let's clarify real quick too, because this is going to get misconstrued as I listen to you.
Okay.
And I think, listen, Jalen is all eyes are on me kind of guy. He's a brand guy. And so when you're a brand guy, there are all eyes on me. But the difference being, what I had said about especially that, just to kind of give a more illustration. Well, no, just more of an illustration, is there's levels of that. And Deion and Antonio Brown and guys like that, they would have come out of that Brinks truck dressed with like gold chains,
mink coat,
mink coat. And I was hot in Jacksonville, but you know what I mean? They would have come out, and it wouldn't have just been like Jalen showed up in sweatpants and almost looked embarrassed to be coming out of the back of the truck.
Correct.
That was what – there's levels of it, and I guess there is brand awareness for Jalen, but there's not necessarily flash with it all the time,
Yeah, and that's a great point, Brent. Like, listen, if you're an NFL player in 2019 – you have to have some kind of brand awareness. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
If you're a punter, it doesn't matter.
All do.
Yeah, you could be a punter. Josh Lammel's got his hats he's doing now. Like everyone,
high school kids do.
Yeah, so everyone's got the brand awareness, but there is a difference between, like you said, kind of the flashiness, and as opposed to letting the play speak for itself on the field. And so far, I think what we've seen with Jalen Ramsey, at least, like we saw with Antonio Brown in the beginning, is that the play speaks for itself. Now, I mean, he's still got a long ways to go, and we'll see if this slope, continues to be slippery. But right now, I don't think that Jalen Ramsey's heading towards Antonio Brown status.
All right. Thanks, Submarine Mike, for that. All right, let's quickly – what's up? Real quick. Sorry.
So I didn't know he was still on the line. Sorry, Mike. I'm going to talk so long. My bad, dude.
No, that's good. That's Ballin' and Falling. Hey, real quick, Mike Baldwin.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to the teams that have started off 2-0, like the Bills, And the Niners?
Who is a team that you liked a lot.
That nobody expected.
Yeah.
And they, by the way, the Niners won 2 road games. Yeah. The Bills won 2 road games. Now, they didn't go far. It was in the state, pretty much in the state. It was in the same stadium, MetLife Stadium. But off to a good start on 2 of those teams that we'll see where it goes from here. I don't think they're great, but they definitely got a couple of W's early in the season.
Yeah, and I think Josh Allen showing that he's kind of, and I'm talking about the quarterback Josh Allen, he's kind of made some strides forward as being a better quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, he is who we thought he was, kind of thing like that. So
maybe not that good. Some people thought he was unbelievable.
No, for sure, but he's had a pretty good
I think
first
Shanahan's
games so far.
so good.
Yeah,
offensively.
Well, once again, you got those offensive-oriented coaches that are younger,
Absolutely.
and they seem to be having a lot of success in the NFL. Brett, my ball, and I'm not sure this is really a ballin' or a fallin'. I slept on it, came to a decision. This is going to be a ballin'. Did you see the picture of Mark Davis, the owner of the Oakland Raiders?
I didn't.
So supposedly, I guess Oakland, they have a partnership with Allegiant Airlines. Now, Allegiant, if you saw them in a lineup, they'd probably be one of your last airlines that you would pick a flying, right? Well, there's a picture circulating on the internet right now, and I'll post it to you right here. A picture of Mark Davis flying business class with Allegiant Airlines. Keep in mind, Mark Davis is a billionaire and has a lot of money. And I think it's bomb just from the standpoint, sometimes they say more money, more problems. Mark Davis flying, Allegiant coach or whatever you want to call it. Props to him, man. He's a man of the people. I feel like if I was a billionaire, I'd be doing the same stuff.
Yeah, you know what? That's pretty cool. I think a man of the people, or he's either super cheap.
Or he's super, but I mean, no, hey, whatever, man. But you know what? I guess there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line. Dude, when you're a billionaire, super cheap, go ahead and splurge a couple extra $1,000 on first class.
If you're a billionaire, stop spending $30 million guaranteed on Antonio Brown and spend a couple $100 extra bucks on your first class seat. Okay, maybe you should do that instead. Hey, when we come back, Fallen, and we'll get to the quarterback stuff, and it will include the college game because Felipe Franks goes down, and I know it's been a lot of NFL talk, but I think we do have to give a little bit to the college game. UCF with a huge win, big game coming up this Saturday in Athens with Georgia and Notre Dame. The college football scene was a terrible weekend going in. There were actually some interesting games, including Florida State, who falls again. And sometimes it's about knowing how to win, and sometimes it's not knowing how to win. I think that comes into play sometimes here in Jacksonville, even with the NFL team. It comes into play a lot in college football. And right now you see 2 examples of that on Saturday night. Florida finds ways to win. Florida State finds ways to lose. More on that and the quarterback situations around the NFL. Why is it happening? Next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Jake Mitchell. The Ballad of Gardner Minshew wrote another verse yesterday when the magical mustachioed rookie almost pulled off a last-second victory in Houston. The Jags lost their second in a row, but Coach Doug Marrone has a lot of faith in his young QB.
And then, on that last drive, you can see the poise that the kid has and was able to go down the field and score. He's never, tell you guys before, he's not a guy that gets rattled. He's fine on the sideline. He understands, what we're trying to get accomplished and what we want to do. So I couldn't be happier with him.
And around the NFL, the Steelers will be without their QB1 for the rest of the season. The second-year man, Mason Rudolph, will guide the sleigh, while Big Ben goes on IR for an elbow injury. And Roethlisberger isn't the only big name that's going to miss time. Saints quarterback Drew Brees is out for 6 weeks with a hand injury. It's like fantasy football anarchy out there. Stay connected with ESPN 690 while you're at work by listening on ESPN690.com.
The DEMP Project is a nonprofit organization in Jacksonville that serves the victims of human and sex trafficking, drug and alcohol abuse, rape, and domestic violence. The DEMP Project is hosting their 3rd annual Celebration of Love Saturday, September 28th at noon. This is a free lunch in honor of survivors. Please feel free to spread the word, and together, let's make a difference. For more information or to volunteer, call or text 904-322-3076. That's 904-322-3076. The DEMP Project. Call or text today, 322-3076.
Hey, what in the name of Lester Jackson are you doing?
Oh, hey, boss. Well, since these folks are out of town, I figured I had time to make a Sammy.
You what?
Yep, it's a peanut butter banana sandwich, just like Elvis.
Wait, when are the owners of this place getting back?
Well, the social media account says tomorrow around noon, so relax.
Huh. Well, don't leave a mess. That would be rude.
Boss, how is it possible in this day and age that folks like this don't have safe touch security?
Beats me. Seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, from the two-way communicator to the crash and smash technology to video monitoring.
Hey, if these folks had safe touch, we wouldn't be within a mile of this place.
And that's why we live by the Crooks R Us motto. Stay away from safe touch houses.
Yeah. Hey, pass the bread, will ya?
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Locally owned and operated businesses give our community character by offering unique options for shopping and dining.
They are a big part of what makes living in the 904 so great.
Shop the 904! Powered by Cox Media Group. What happens when your alarm system gets triggered? Let's say you're at work and your house is getting broken into. You want the police called, right? Well, that only happens with a Safe Touch security system. You heard me, right? Yes, the law states that if an alarm is not verified, the alarm contractor must call the key holders before calling the police, giving the crooks plenty of time to clean out your home and have an easy getaway. But the Safe Touch two-way communicator verifies the holdup in just seconds, allowing the Safe Touch operators to dispatch emergency authorities in seconds. Also providing valuable information to the authorities. Customers also receive an instant text verification as well as live video of who's in your home. This video can be transferred to the police, giving them a huge advantage in the war on crime. Don't just think you're safe, know you're safe. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now and receive a free color listen and talk camera and just $5 extra for storage. Get the Safe Touch Advantage now at safetouch.com. License number EF233 with approved credit terms and conditions apply.
He's saying they thought by sending me to Cleveland, even though they made the best deal clearly for themselves in their mind, you thought that you were sending me to Cleveland, you were sending me to purgatory.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, he was running a lot, you know what I'm saying, scrambling, you know, making plays with his feet, right? I just felt that, you know, we work all week on a call. We can change it, obviously, during the course of the game. We thought that the defense that they had given us was going to give us a great chance, and we came up a couple inches short. I mean, you know, a lot of times people ask you the question, hey, would you do it all, over again? Well, obviously not. You know, I mean, if you don't make it, you're not going to do it over again.
I love the realistic nature sometimes of Doug Marrone. I mean, that part I get. I like that, you know, and that he's right. He gets it. He knows what people are saying. But, yeah, you're right. You would have done something different. What I don't know is, did they get – you said it, Austin, as we welcome everybody back. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane. And we've been on this so much, and I want to get to other things. But, listen, it's a big story, man. It's the Jags. It's two-point conversion. The two-point conversion fail. Jalen Ramsey, no discipline today, by the way, announced from Coach Doug Marrone. There won't be any. The Jags are 0-2. They got a big game Thursday night. I mean, that's what we do. It's the Jags. But I want to get to some other things real quick after I say this, coming off Doug's comments, and that is, did they get the defense they wanted to see? I mean, you saw a lot of people in the box.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, listen, I showed you the picture, okay? I took a screenshot because I knew we were going to talk about it. I banked on it, and I took a picture of the screenshot. And the screenshot, I can count 8 players on my TV screen on the line. And if you can do that, that means, well, there's 3 other players covering 3 receivers, and that's all there is. So from that perspective, I feel like you have to pass there, you know? And once again, Brent, I'm not an offensive guru. I'm not an offensive-minded guy. You know how I operate, dude. I want to stop the run, and I want to run the football, and let's do this whole thing. But I'm just saying, from what I saw, there was a reason why I cussed. There's a reason why I dropped an F-bomb in front of my son for the second time in my his entire life watching football. It's because I felt like there was an easy opening there for that pass game, and they didn't take it.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Fallen real quick. And it's not the Jags on this instance. I mean, it could be Jalen Ramsey, and Submarine Mike called in, and that was his because of the antics and outbursts, and maybe even a little bit of Doug Marrone on the sideline, and also some of his calls, lack thereof. Challenge flag, the 2-point call. the play call they chose to go with. So there's a lot of choices here. But for me, I'm just going quarterbacks in general. What's going on? Ben Roethlisberger out for the year with the elbow. 6 weeks now for the thumb for Drew Brees. Nick Foles already down. Sam Darnold out with mono for an extended amount of time. Who am I missing? Andrew Luck retired. By the way, Adam Vinatieri hasn't retired. I think they've talked him out of retiring and want to give him another crack at it. But I think there was a thought. This isn't quarterback related, but it sparked my retirement in Colts situation.
Yes.
And I think I saw that there's no retirement for Vinatieri.
And they kind of set the record straight. So there was a soundbite. I was kind of following the story yesterday, and supposedly after the game, because he lost. I mean, he missed a lot.
He's missed 5 kicks in the first 2 weeks.
So after the game, the media wanted to address it. And they asked his thoughts, and he basically said, "I'll address it tomorrow."
Yeah.
Well, the media is like, we're not going to talk to you tomorrow. He's like, "Oh no, I'll address it tomorrow."
Yeah.
So that was the thought of the retirement coming down the pipeline. But by all accounts, now as you mentioned, I guess that's not in the works just yet.
Well, I got us off the quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks, what's going on? I mean, heck, even in college, Felipe Franks goes down.
Yeah.
I mean, devastating blows in the last 3 weeks to quarterbacks, at least that we have a vested interest in. Pretty wild.
It's very wild, and especially big name quarterbacks. I mean, you're talking about Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger, guys that have been tied to their respective franchises for a long time now. It's going to be weird not watching Ben Roethlisberger if they're not seeing Drew Brees out there. But let's be honest. I mean, we're speaking from a Jaguars perspective here, Brent. From a Jaguars fans perspective, we talked about Andrew Luck retiring and the stars aligning for the Jacksonville Jaguars win the division. Well, now Drew Brees, being out in a couple weeks versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Once again, the stars are aligning a little bit because I ended up watching that Saints-Rams game, and to be honest, Teddy Bridgewater, not a good look for him, against the Rams. And I don't think the Rams defense is really, even maybe a top 5, top 10 kind of caliber, but Bridgewater struggled. So at least from a Jaguars fan's perspective, you can be a little optimistic about that. But yeah, as far as Ben Roethlisberger, you have to ask the question too, Brent. Is this really the end for Ben Roethlisberger, a guy who's been contemplating retirement now? It seems like the past couple years, he's out the entire season now with an elbow injury. It makes you wonder if this is the end for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, interesting. And, if you think about it from the Jags standpoint, obviously they've got Minshew mania and magic and all these things, and Minshew's played pretty well. Comes in and does a way better job than Teddy Bridgewater did.
Yeah.
And you can argue they have a way better offense and more weapons at the disposal, playing against the Rams instead of the Chiefs in relief. But that Minshew was. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, think about it like this, Brent. I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl this year, because if you think about it, they have an all-pro at every single level. They have an all-pro at wide receiver, an all-pro at tight end in Jared Cook, and they have an all-pro with Alvin Kamara.
Saints, you mean.
Yeah, the Saints. Yeah, exactly. So, from that perspective, even if you're Teddy Bridgewater, I feel like you should be able to be successful in that kind of offense. But you saw it against the Rams; he really wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. Roethlisberger, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Breeze, we'll see, but the Jags don't play him now. They want to face Bridgewater. I mean, that's a break for the Jags. I think it stinks for the fans.
Yeah.
It was one last chance maybe to see Drew Brees here in Jacksonville. But if you can get a win because of it, maybe that will help out.
Yeah.
Cam Newton's not playing good. He seems beat up. I tell you what, Wentz had some moments last night and played well, but he got beat up.
Yeah.
Took
big
Deshaun
shots
Watson
to the ribs.
looks beat up every time he hits the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. They're protecting the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks are still going down.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do, right? I mean, guys are getting bigger, faster, and stronger every single year on the defensive side of the ball. There's only so much you can do.
Might be one of those years, an epidemic at the quarterback position. And a real quick mention of Felipe Franks. It's a horrific injury. And we're going to talk a lot more college football tomorrow, but you hate to see it. I hate this. I thought about it from this angle. And listen, I'm not a Gator fan, and so I know Gator fans will react in different ways to it. Trask did a great job coming in, and we'll see where they go with Trask and Emory Jones. And we'll talk a little bit more about how Mullen handles quarterbacks tomorrow, which is very interesting to have some of these guys ready. And I don't think Felipe Franks is unbelievable, so maybe they can replace him and still move forward in an okay manner. But I just thought about it from this angle. These guys, man, they put so much work in. Felipe Franks tries to grow and grow as a quarterback and learning a system and being a leader. And, man, to see it come crashing down 3 games in, you do feel for him. I think that becomes cliche, but you feel – I thought about it a little bit extra the other night. That's a devastating injury. They even brought him out in front of the team to break him down at the end of the game when they rally and get the win. But – you could almost see it on his face because you know you're about to not be a part of the team. You know, you can say it all you want, but we get it, right? You're like Nick Foles doesn't feel a part of the team right now. Even if he's helping out, he doesn't feel a part of the team.
Exactly. And listen, I've been more critical than Felipe Franks than anybody. You know, I mean, when you were gone, Brent, I went on a giant rant of how I was fed up with Felipe Franks trying to act like he's the man when he's not indeed the man yet. You know, when he's taunting on the sidelines and things of that nature. But, yeah, anytime a guy like that goes down, you know, really that leader of that offense goes down for the season, and it's you hit it right on the head, Brent. Like, sure, he's going to be maybe giving some pregame speeches. He may be helping out, you know, the next quarterback, whether it's Trask, whoever it is, you know, helping him get ready for the game. But mentally and physically, you're just not part of the team anymore. And that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter how much you try to help out. It's just there's some things that you can't be a part of when you're hurt on the sidelines, and that's just the way it is. But wish him a speedy recovery, man. And yeah, you know, it's a hard situation.
Hey, we don't talk college football half the show on a daily basis, but I do want to talk more college football. We'll do it tomorrow. It's just a lot to digest with the Jags, I thought, today, and we'll do a little bit more with Florida State and UCF, and because I want to talk about UCF a little bit more. They deserve to be talked about. Just probably not going to get too much of it today. What's your fall?
Speaking of college football real quick, so my fall in, and listen, Brent, I've been really critical of the Green Bay Packers. Had some friends call me out yesterday and said, how about those Packers beating the Vikings? So be it.
They did.
And listen, I've always said that Madison, Wisconsin probably has some of the drunkest college football fans in the entire world. Badger fans, I'm sorry, but I found a new fan base that might give you a run for your money. Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State student section. You see what happened during the storm delay? Basically what happened was there was a weather delay. They had to exit the stadium. A bunch of drunk fans hopped the fences, got back into the stadium, and were running on the field. Like 100 people were doing this, by the way. There's videos everywhere on Twitter. Check it out. But drunkest fans in America. I have to go to the Iowa State Cyclone fans.
What else are you going to do in places like Wisconsin and Iowa?
Not much to do, right? Hit up that 40, man. Let's go.
Hey, when we come back, we put a bow on the show, and one final thought or two on what happened over the weekend with the Jaguars. Remember, Jags Report Live coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS 47. Come join us at Topgolf. Come on out. We'll have some fun, and we'll talk all about it. But next, one more segment here on ESPN 690.
We'll decide if Jacksonville wants to be Birmingham or if they want to be Charlotte.
Shortly after Shad Khan took over ownership and said, I want to redevelop the shipyards. The reason he wants to do that is a vibrant downtown, a vibrant sports complex, according to Khan, is something that the team needs to stay viable and sustainable financially. So the shipyards have really kind of started and stopped, but what we have now is one part of that.
Action Sports Jax, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
With Experian Boost, instantly boost your FICO score for free. Higher credit scores can help you get access to credit and open up preferred credit options. See Experian.com/America for details. Results may vary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax. Thanks for making ESPN 690 the fastest-growing sports station in Jacksonville. It was a lot of fun playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars for 3 years, and I'm having just the same amount of fun on the radio every single day with ESPN 690. So I'm reaching out to you to be part of our team and grow your business with ESPN 690. Give us a holler at 245-8732. That's 245-8732. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you join the team.
The response to Beards Diamond's 5 years, 0 interest with no money down has been so spectacular, we're extending it till the end of September.
How about a $6,000 Takuri or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
Take advantage of the rock bottom prices Beards is known for and spread your payment out over 5 full years without paying a dime of interest. Visit beardsdiamonds.com.
Beards Jewelry, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Help save lives from heart disease and stroke. Join the American Heart Association at Metropolitan Park on Saturday, September 21st for the First Coast Heart Walk. Visit firstcoastheartwalk.org.
The First Coast Heart Walk is sponsored by Main Street America Group, Mayo Clinic, and Florida Blue.
I just don't know that there was a city that would be really excited about Rick Pitino. What has he accomplished in the pros that would suggest that it's worth taking on all of the baggage that he comes with?
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome Welcome back here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Once again, Jags Report Live coming up 7 o'clock on CBS 47. Come on out to Top Golf, and it's a big golf day around here. We are at the golf club at Southampton. Action Sports Jax Dream 18 in the books for another year. So thankful for all our sponsors and support and everybody that comes out and joins us for this day. Raised over $30,000 today for St. Michael Soldiers and the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation, and now eclipsed the mark of $100,000 for the Dream 18 giving to local charities. So thanks to everyone that was a part of it, and really thanks to the golf club at Southampton. Course is in awesome shape, and I'll be honest with you. Earlier in the year, the greens were in rough shape because of kind of like a fungus or something. I don't know the actual technical terms of what happened, but some of the courses in the area got hit by this, and what a job they have done here at the golf club at Southampton to get this course in shape over the last months, and not just for our end, by the way, but for everybody else, and rave reviews today on the golf course. So if you like golf and you haven't been to Southampton in a bit, the greens are rolling, and they are good, and the rest of the course is in fantastic shape. So come on out to the golf club at Southampton and enjoy some of the nice fall weather, hopefully that is to come, and play some golf. But thanks again for the hospitality. It was a great day for this event. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane. And do we move on tomorrow, or do we get stuck in the cycle of what happened yesterday for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Because there's very short time. Jaguars were off today. Then tomorrow they get back on the practice field. There will be media availability, so I think people will be asking a lot of these questions. And then obviously Wednesday right into Thursday night in a game that they have to win. It's like a must-win game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got to be careful to get caught in this. I know 24-hour rule exists, but you got to be careful to get caught in that web that might last a little bit more than 24 hours.
So, here's the beauty of everything, right? Let's go back to Sunday one last time. So, Jalen Ramsey, Doug Marrone altercation on the sidelines. Not a good look for the team. Marrone had to kind of push back. Ramsey had to be pushed back. It wasn't a good scene. Jaguars losing, on a heartbreaker at the end on a 2-point conversion. Lose to the Texans, lose to a division opponent. That all sucks. If you want to take, you can take positives with Gardner Minshew and yada, yada, yada. But I think you can also take a positive in the fact here, Brent, that you play on Thursday night. So you don't have time to really, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, to sit and dwell, to sing Kumbaya, to try to get, like an HR person to come in and make sure everyone's getting along now. Because guess what? We play the Tennessee Titans Thursday night, and guess what? The Tennessee Titans have had your number the past couple years. The Tennessee Titans, if you thought the Texans game was intense, wait till the Titans come to town, because that's the Titans' MO. I don't care how good Mariota's looking, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Delaney Walker. No. Let's be honest. Tennessee's going to try to come and run the ball down your throat. And the question is are you going to stop them or not? And guess what? The best part about that whole thing is, you have to have the right calls, the right schemes. But this is an attitude game, Brent. This is an attitude game, and this is the game that I love, right? Because it's stopping the run and running the football yourselves. It's the battle of the trenches, and to me, that's what football is all about. So you don't have time to sit and reflect about, who was right, Doug Marrone, Jalen Ramsey was, because no, you don't have time for that. You're coming in tomorrow, Tuesday, you're playing for Tennessee, practice Wednesday, like a fast Friday on Wednesday, and then you're playing Thursday. So quick turnaround, and I love that for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, that is a quick turnaround, and, I'm not wrong, right? This is must-win time. Like, they've got to win this football game.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm the ultimate sunshine and rainbows guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a hard time finding a way out of this mess at 0-3, even if you do have Denver, who's not very good, Carolina, who I think is suspect, and now a New Orleans team coming in that doesn't have Drew Brees. Shows you the importance of a win and how it can really change the mindset. If the Jags do sneak that win and really steal one in a game that they probably weren't going to win for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
And they stole that game. Well, now you'd be feeling good about Thursday, and you'd be feeling good about the next few weeks. So the most difficult part of the schedule, at least on paper, is this first 6 weeks of the schedule. It's must-win time, man. They got to get it done. You can't lose at home on Thursday Night Football. I don't care who you're playing, and I know Tennessee's been tough on them, but you can't lose at home and go to 0-2 in the division and 0-3 on the football season. That's a tough thing to make up from.
And obviously we'll talk about it more during the week of breaking down Tennessee, what they bring to the table. But you're talking about a Tennessee Titans team right now, Brent, who's out their best offensive lineman, Taylor Lewan, who's the highest paid left tackle in the entire NFL. He's not going to be suiting up for this game, dealing with a drug suspension, for performance-enhancing drugs. And you got it. It's on the defensive line. It really is. And listen, we talked about it a little bit, Brent, where after my observation after the game, I'm a little nervous for the defensive line right now because I saw Calais Campbell. You know, he had some missed tackles, whether that's an injury relation or whatever it is. But Calais Campbell didn't play his best game yesterday, and that's got to be the leader. That's got to be the anchor of that defensive line. Yannick Ngakoue, is he going to be able to play? So a lot of questions right now on the defensive line that we'll start addressing more as the week progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more about it tomorrow because we need to get into this defense. One thing we didn't talk about today is the defense bounce back.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, with all the again, if we're not talking about the Jalen Ramsey sideline outburst, Jalen Ramsey and this defense bounce back for sure. But there are some issues to be concerned about.
Yep.
Calais Campbell is one of them. He's off to a slow start. Marcel Darius isn't 100%. Yannick Ngakoue, when will he be ready? There's a lot to get into on that, so we'll talk more about the defense tomorrow. You got a little quick stay in your lane?
Yeah, quick stay in your lane. So I had some audio prepared. Oh, yep, there's So I had some audio prepared, but we're going to save it for tomorrow. Actually, this is kind of a good shout-out. I just came across this. Got a text message. So my cousin, Carl Craigie, will be competing in the Frontier League Championships tonight, Brent. It's like a Class A baseball. He's the closer, and he goes by the name as they gave him, the Norwegian Hammer. Well, the Norwegian Hammer hopes to get the save tonight as the Florence Freedom play for the championship tonight in Frontier League baseball.
Go
so
get
props
him,
to them.
Go get him.
Will do. Yeah, thanks, Brent. So props to them and the Florence Freedom. And then you pump your brakes real quick. Did you watch the boxing fight at all?
I did.
Tyson Fury. Yeah.
No, I didn't stay. Why is that thing on so late?
Well, I know, and I didn't talk about it because
I stay up late.
And I didn't talk about it because I figured, Ottawa, I'm going to be honest, never heard of the guy. He's from Sweden. He's got the Viking blood. That's cool. Had no idea who Tyson Fury was fighting. He was a big favorite.
Tyson Fury, run for his money.
A run for his money, but here's the bad part. Tyson Fury gets 50 stitches because he caught a punch to the eye in the third round, opened him up good. 50 stitches, and now the fight with Deontay Wilder coming up here at the end of the year is obviously in question because he has to recover from those stitches. So not a good look for boxing.
All right. Hey, much more to talk about with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, the rest of the week, short week for the Jags. And we'll talk more on the TV side, by the way, coming up on Fox 30 and CBS 47 all night long. But a reminder, come on out to Top Golf. 7 o'clock, CBS 47. We will be there talking Jags, the entire Action Sports Jax team. That is on the way. Fun show that we just started a week ago. Thanks to Kuz. Kuz, you have fun today?
I had a great time.
Yeah, you and Nicole out here playing. She is no doubt better than you. I will share the video of the one shot I got a Kuz a little bit later on.
I heard it wasn't pretty. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, thanks to everyone again for the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, everyone supporting Cadillac, Law Offices Around Shows, Jacksonville Giants, the Players Championship, our presenting and title sponsors, and, of course, the Golf Club at Southampton, and we'll thank a lot more along the way. Have a good night, everybody. For Austin Lane, I'm Brent Martineau. More Jags talk and college talk tomorrow here on the show.
At Planet Fitness, you can join a great gym for just 25 cents down, so you don't have to flip a coin between quality and price. You get both. Tons of equipment or free fitness training? Both. Great price or a clean environment? Yep, both. Join Planet Fitness for 25 cents down and $10 a month with no commitment and get a great workout at a great value. Join in-club or online at planetfitness.com.
Flash sale extended. Hurry, 25 cents down, ends Tuesday, September 17th.
See club for details.
Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com. Don't miss the ultimate land liquidation sale on Saturday, September 21st and save up to 70% on all lake access home sites. Get 1 to 3 acres and a new barn-dominium shell from only $47,900. All roads and utilities are 100% complete, including clubhouse, pool, tennis courts, and more. All lake access home sites will be liquidated from only $14,900. That's right, only $14,900. To schedule a tour, call 888-GET-LAND or visit at 888getland.com.
Is today the day it'll finally stop raining?
We sure hope so, but it's been a very wet summer so far. This is Mike with Big Fish Roofing. Don't forget, your roof is the first line of defense against the elements. Here at Big Fish Roofing, as an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we are locally owned and we drive our business with quality and integrity. We do not require any down payments until your roof project is complete. You can find us at bigfishroofing.com or facebook.com/bigfishroofing. We are the roofers you can trust. We are Big Fish Roofing.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Timmy Kirkchin, our fine Major League Baseball analyst. Aaron Boone, he talked about it, maybe a mercy rule at some point.
It makes a little bit of sense now. But I'm worried where we are right now that there are so many blowouts. That's just not healthy for the game. So I know what Boone's talking about here. I don't think it'll get any traction, but I guarantee you somebody's going to ask that question within the Major League Baseball offices.
Golick and Wingo, weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000.